Second straight year, Johnny, we get to do a show where we get to celebrate the Philadelphia Phillies being crowned as National League East champions. Night one in L.A., they go out there, they win 6-5 in what was a playoff-like atmosphere, a back-and-forth game. Here's how it sounded at the end, courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions. They win it in extra innings. They knock off the Dodgers by a final score of 6-5. It is their 13th National League East title.
13th National League East title. Back-to-back years.
Which is paltry.
It's very, very, very low, but they get the win yesterday. They are National League East champs, and now we start really focusing on the road to the Red October and hopefully a long October for us here in the city of Philadelphia. Johnny, good morning and a happy National League East Champion Celebration Day.
I can only say I've never felt better to get like 2 hours, 45 minutes sleep. Connor and I last traded a text, I think, at 1:17 in the morning, looking at my phone. And I feel very awake this morning. I did stop and get a
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
I stopped and got a sugar-free Red Bull just to wake myself up a little bit. It feels beautiful. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome to watch that game, to see it come to fruition, and to see this team now move on to the next phase. Lock up the bye week. Then, potentially, lock up a 1 seed. It would be great if that could happen.
It's a dream,
it was amazing.
But there is still a chance.
Are
There
we
is still
taking
a
credit?
chance.
Are we taking credit for this, by the way?
For what?
Since the creation of Kincade Salciunas, there are consecutive division championships for the Phillies and a Super Bowl for the Eagles.
I would say that
I'm
a lot
just
of
saying
these
there's been a
successes
lot of
because
winning.
of us.
I'd
I would say
so
a lot
too.
of it is because of us.
I'd say let's take the credit. But no, give the credit to Dave Dombrowski, the fantastic Philadelphia Phillies roster, which, by the way, using every player on the roster, including last night, like the Ottoman Empire, as Connor loves so much, like the fact that Weston Wilson comes through,
Yeah.
dub, as our man Bill Colarulo loves to state it, and the fact that, too, the manager, Rob Thompson, last night was really, really good.
And that's why it felt like a playoff game yesterday, the back and forth. And I know it's stressful for us in Philadelphia. I imagine it was stressful for people in Los Angeles. But
Oh, yeah.
every state in between, between California and Pennsylvania and obviously fans in New Jersey, it was probably just great to watch that kind of baseball play out. And so the Phillies win 6-5 yesterday. And you mentioned it. They basically pulled every single stop yesterday. Obviously, you have Trey Turner out right now with the injury. Alec Boehm is banged up. So you're playing guys like Otto Kemp. You're playing guys like Weston Wilson because you have to move guys all over the field. But also the way Rob Thompson managed it during the game, having guys pinch hit, moving guys from one position to another, multiple arms coming out of the bullpen, and the arms that you will expect to see in October. With all due respect to the Max Lazars of the world, right? Like I saw Kerkering, Strahm, Duran, and David Robertson yesterday. Those will be the go-to guys, plus Tanner Banks come playoff time when this team plays. So yesterday felt like an October game. There is a legitimate chance that this is the team that you will be facing in Red October.
It certainly looks like it. As long as they win their wild card series, this looks like the matchup.
And so get ready. This was a nice little appetizer. We expect there to be a bit of a hangover game tonight for the Phillies as they celebrate in the locker room yesterday. So we'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, that was a playoff game last night, and it was a great teaser of what could potentially happen in a couple of weeks.
Got a good thing for you, though, on the whole hangover game tonight. Christopher, not most likely to be the guy to have the hangover.
Okay.
So he's on the mound. And I heard Cole Hamels talk about this on the Sunday broadcast. Cole, liking to imbibe,
Sure.
had to pitch one of the games after a clincher.
That sounds horrible.
And he said it was terrible.
Yes,
he
I
said
bet it was.
He said it was an awful experience for him having to pitch that next day. He felt like crap.
Yes.
Hey, we do that in our Sunday league every weekend.
Damn right
It's
we
easy.
do. Damn right
then,
we do.
Then you and Cole can relate. You same level of competition. But Christopher, I doubt is the guy to come in today and have the horrible hangover. So
Right.
maybe that works in their favor. But what a spectacular moment for the Phils. This franchise, you said 13. And again, for someone of your generation, you guys were raised in what I do consider a real golden era.
Absolutely.
Of that 2007 to 2011, which was a great window of time. We're living in a great window of time right now. But this window needs a little more window dressing than just that 2022 miracle run.
Yeah, this
needs it.
this window needs a championship. And
I think so, too.
say what you want about this baseball team, whether you love the core, whether you don't, this could be very well the last chance for a lot of these players in a Phillies uniform to try to win it. And I do believe that at times this year, maybe that did impact the way we looked at them, and maybe it impacted the clubhouse itself, that there is so much stress on this team as this potentially being the last year.
You think the way we looked at it, explain that a little bit more.
Well, because we all know that this could be it, right? And so we're looking for every single flaw in this baseball team. And look,
so
some
we're
of the
being nitpicky, you're saying a little bit, maybe because of the fact of the pressure we're feeling.
Right, because we sense that this could be it, that everybody's getting older. The daycare is dead, right? The daycare is now 28, 29 years old. The guys like Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, they're not 30 anymore. They're 32, 33, 34 years old. Zach Wheeler is no longer pitching for this baseball team, but he was getting up there in age. And you all got that sense, despite how good these guys can still be, you realize that Father Time never loses. And so at some point, you weren't going to bring back players. You were probably going to trade some players away. We all know that the future for Nick Castellanos in Philadelphia is probably over after this October run. So it's going to look different next year. And because we know all this stuff, I think that's why the pressure that we have felt as fans, and maybe the pressure that we have pushed toward the Phillies all season long, has been there. So my question for everybody today at 610-632-0975, regardless of your opinion about this team, you know what I've said a couple of weeks ago? I thought that the Phillies' World Series chances were done the second Zach Wheeler went down, right? But I also gave that promise the day that you were out, Johnny, that I'm still going to ride with this team and celebrate every high that there is. And last night is one of those highs, winning the National League East crown in mid-September. Going for potentially the best record, they're not far off it, from this era that we're seeing right now with Schwarber and Harper and Real Muto and Castellanos and Nola and Wheeler. It could be the best single regular season record for this
6-5
core.
down the stretch gives them that record.
That's all they need to do. So regardless of your opinion, regardless of the roller coaster, regardless of the feeling that this could be it, regardless of the feeling that they may not win it, can you enjoy the fact that they accomplished this? And the fact that they are still fighting for potentially the top record in the National League, for the top record in Major League Baseball. A lot of people get so beaten down by their opinion of this baseball team that it allows them to be affected by it, that all of a sudden they're miserable when they watch the Phillies. Last night, despite my beliefs, was a joyous occasion sitting back, watching October-like baseball and seeing the Phillies, the team that I love, that I can close my eyes and see childhood Andrew, like 50 pounds heavier, going to Citizens Bank Park with my dad and seeing them win in 07, in 08, in 09, 10, 11. And now I'm watching them do it again and against the Dodgers again, which is always so much fun. Can people put all their negative feelings about this team aside for one day and celebrate what happened last night?
I wonder, because it's really strange that you say that, because it was something that I thought about on the ride in this morning. I thought about all the people that I've complained about that are just like, wake me in October, that don't enjoy the ride.
Sure.
And I wondered, when they were watching the game last night, what do they do? And if they were up and they were watching that, what do they feel? Because to me, I felt I know how precious seeing the Phillies win a division is. And to see it, to me, means this has been an era that is very, very special for the Phillies to be able to go to the postseason 4 years in a row. That's incredible. That's something that now they've made the postseason a lot easier to get to than it was when I was a kid. When you were growing up, it was even a little harder than it is now. When I was a kid, it was twice as hard.
Right.
And so now I wondered what they felt today. I wondered what they felt about it.
So answer that question, regardless of your opinion of this team. Some of you might just be celebrating. Like, I got Connor
Hopefully
Goggles
you are.
over there.
I love
Some
that.
of you may
Taking
just
champagne in my eyes.
Some of you may just be celebrating the fact that you've believed in this team throughout the course of the year. So if that's the case, hey, have at it. Let's party. But there's a lot of people that have an opinion about this team and how it's going to end. Can you sit back and forget about that for a day and celebrate the fact that they are back-to-back National League East champions? Answer that question for us today at 610-632-0975. Coming up next, before the bottles were popped inside the clubhouse, Rob Thompson addressed this team. And I think his message was perfect to his players for how this season had been played out. Hear that next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo.
When you've seen the first two games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jihad Campbell and safety Drew Makuba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment here.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew Makuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Is celebration. We just wonder, for some of you, not all of you, and I don't even know if it's most of you, are you celebrating it? Because a lot of people have an opinion about this Phillies team, as do I. But that doesn't mean I can't turn off baseball mindset Andrew and not just be a kid again and watch my Phillies team celebrate the National League East crown. Now, speaking of the celebration, before the bottles were popped, as they always do, I love this little tradition for Rob Thompson. Like, all right, you crazy kids, you have fun, but just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I want to address the room. And here was Rob Thompson last night before the bottles were popped, before the how many games we have left, JT. This was Rob Thompson, and I think the message for this team specifically was perfect.
Toughness, resiliency, day after day, inning by inning. I mean, we've had all kinds of adversity this year with travel and rain delays and injuries, and you guys have fought right through it. So this is for all of you, all the staff, the guys that we've left behind, Wheeler, Alvarado, Trey, Romano. They couldn't be here. The guys that have come up from Lehigh Valley and helped us out. This is a great team effort. Great team effort. Back-to-back National League East champions.
When you've seen the
JT, how many we got left, buddy? Whatever the hell it takes.
And then, of course, the champagne is aflowing. Now, when he says the guys left behind.
Did he say whatever it takes?
Yeah,
whatever the hell it
many?
takes.
Whatever the hell it takes, because hopefully
you get the one.
we're only talking about 11.
Yeah.
We're not talking about 13.
Right.
And that has to work
And
first.
maybe you have the 1 seed. Maybe you still have to, maybe they want the 1 seed. So maybe he says whatever the hell it takes. Maybe they're still fighting for that.
No, I mean 11 would be the amount of wins you would need.
No, I get
Even
it.
if you're the 1 seed, you still need 11.
Right, but I'm talking about them still going for the 1 seed because, look, they won the NL East. It would be easy to just be like, all right, we're good. No, I want them to still fight for that 1 seed.
Sure.
Now, when Rob Thompson mentions the players left behind, obviously Wheeler and Trey Turner, and I'll throw Alec Bowman in the mix there as well, a little bit different than Romano and Alvarado.
Alvarado and Romano.
Alvarado, the suspension, ineligible for the playoffs. Romano, just bad. But I think that message is kind of not only did we leave some of these guys behind, we had to, and you guys kept going. Like
They also weren't there in
right
LA.
there specifically, right?
Yeah, so they weren't there for the celebration.
But like I think of it as, yeah, you're going to be without Zach Wheeler in the playoffs. You're going to be without Jose Alvarado in the playoffs. You don't want Jordan Romano in the playoffs. Trey Turner will be back, but who is Trey Turner when he comes back? Despite the up and down roller coaster ride, think about in season. Harper dealing with injuries at times, right? Aaron Nola being out as long as he was at times this year. Ranger Suarez, his up and down. Really just 1 month of down, but everybody started thinking the same thing. This is the same thing that seems to happen every single year. Not getting David Robertson till later. Not getting Yohan Duran till the trade deadline. This team has been different every other month. Every other month, it's been a different roster. Every other month, you've had different outfielders. It's been crazy, and yet through it all, they have 90 wins on the morning of September the 16th.
You know what I love about this team, though, compared to the last 4 years, though, of the 4 years of Topper, where Topper came in 22 to this year. Mm-hmm. This team hasn't been the roller coaster the other years were. He talks about the adversity they hit, and it did hit adversity. But this team has not had the, hit the skids poop month.
Right, that
the other
going
teams did.
5 and 15 in a month.
Like this, where they go on a stretch of like just playing terrible baseball. Every time the Phillies appear, and the 1-9 stretch was the worst stretch.
Right.
That's the only stretch this year where they played really bad baseball, and it looked like what the blank is going on. Other than that, this has been a really, really consistent team. And to me, I admire that. You admire that. We're both really creatures of habit.
Sure.
I admire that the most, that over 162, and I think that that's one of the many things in, overall that has been a great job by the manager, who I don't give a lot of love notes to all the time, and I got some more coming up later.
Well, that's what we're doing next.
Yeah, I mean, but that's one of the things. The consistency of this club. No, there's something specific. He gets a lot of love for it.
Well,
but to me, it's that consistency has been amazing. And that's on all the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's on all the players, too. That's not to have huge extended slumps and things like that.
Yeah. Individual slumps may have happened, but the team never really did.
And they picked each other up.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Look at Marsh. Look at, like guys who we at this time I should just say me, guys that me and people buried their seasons at times.
Sure.
And we were wrong. I was wrong. So there it is.
All right, so coming up next, we'll talk more about the game itself, but I received a text this morning from John Kincade that made me double look. Like, I was like, wait, did I read
it correctly?
Did I read that correctly?
Yep.
The text, quote, "My unexpected love letter to Rob Thompson for a move he made last night." Well, I don't know what it is, but we'll hear that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Tuesday for multiple reasons now here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
NL East champs. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Philadelphia Phillies are officially NL East champions for the second straight season. They took down the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings to lock up the division crown late last night, or I guess early this morning. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, and Bryce Harper all had big homers in the game, and David Robertson worked out of a bases-loaded jam in the bottom of the 10th, and then this happened.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
The next goal up for the Phillies, try not to be too hungover for today's game. And after that, it's trying to lock down a first-round bye. They now have a 5.5-game lead over those Dodgers for the 2 seed. Game 2 in L.A. tonight at 10:10. Christopher Sanchez on the mound versus Shohei Ohtani. The Eagles are starting their prep for a matchup with the 2-0 Rams on Sunday. Eagles coordinators will meet with media at 11:30 a.m. today. We'll be listening closely for Kevin Patullo's explanation of the offensive performance. Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Anthony Sanfilippo of On Pattison joins us at 9:25 for the latest on those champion Phils. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Football's back. Get ready for the season at Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary. Bet365. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo, and Sylvanic.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCullough.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
On Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Yesterday, it was a championship undefeated road to the repeat Monday. Today, it's a NL East championship, and hopefully they win one World Series Tuesday here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5
Wouldn't that be
Fanatic.
nice?
That would be wonderful, as the Phillies beat the Dodgers last night 6-5, earning the National League East crown for the second straight season. So
Connor with his goggles on.
he's got the goggles on.
Got to protect the eyes.
Yeah, Connor, you're entertaining some people in the DMs this morning. People are very excited. Connor with the goggles on. They love seeing Connor with the goggles.
Dude, I went from my senior year of high school to when I was 27 years old without seeing this team in the postseason. I'm going to celebrate every last bit of this.
No, you should.
You should,
enjoy
man.
every freaking bit of it.
I don't need goggles to celebrate.
They say I think it's pretty funny. I admire the bit.
All right, a couple of things before we give your love letter. So you mentioned the consistency of this team. Despite the roller coaster of emotions, despite some guys having really bad stretches, it seems like people kept on uplifting this team.
Sure.
I do believe a lot of it, the first 4 months of the season, was because of the starting pitching. And again, the reason why I was down when Zach Wheeler went out is because I think this team needs the starting pitching in order to win, right? Like the Dodgers need the bats to win.
Okay.
The Phillies, I still think, ultimately need the starting pitching to win. In 2022, they had a 10-18 month of May, which is a 3.57 winning percentage, and an 11-14 month of September, which is a 4.40 winning percentage.
What was 2022 that was?
Yes.
Did you say? Okay, so May is when, and that's when they got Joe Girardi fired.
Yep. 2023, the very next year, same month of May, 10-16, 3.85 winning percentage. 2024, last year, the month of July, 10-14 with a 4.17 ERA. In case you're just tuning in, these are the worst months of baseball the Phillies have had during these years of success. This year, their worst month of baseball was July, where they went one game under 500. They went 11-12. Every team's going to hit a slide at some point during the season. They went one game under 500. Every other month, they were above 500.
And that included a 1-9, right?
It was not 1-9, but it was bad.
I mean, I admire that. To me, is what I really admire about this club.
Oh, you know what? The 1-9 was a carryover from May into June.
Into June. Oh, it was May into June.
Yeah.
I admire that the most, I think, about this team. The consistency of not having the nonsense of, because it was nonsense.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much up and down the last few years. That was pretty good.
Yep.
That was really, really
And
good.
you guys didn't have to wait through the stinky victory shirt this year because they didn't need it.
Thank God.
Thank God.
And then
Because you don't smell.
In our YouTube chat, Dave P. checks in saying, I cannot believe Marsh is up to 285. Kieran responds, what? Marsh is batting 285? Yeah. The guy is having a season, well, 281, but a guy is having a season where you're going, what happened in the month of April? So in the month of April, Brandon Marsh batted 0. He went 0 for 29 through the month of April until they sent him down because of what I believe was a phantom injury. It was a nice reset. He has credited Garrett Stubbs for it, making baseball fun again for him. Some people need that. Some people don't. Some people are just gifted and they just go out there and play. Some people can't just be focused on baseball, right? And we talked about this last week. Maybe they went too far with the, no, let's come in here and play baseball. Very Joe Girardi-esque the first time around. In the month of May, he batted 298. In the month of June, he batted 324.
Whoa.
In the month of July, he sucked, batting 271. That's a joke.
Yeah.
In the month of August, 284. And so far, in the month of September, he's batting 390. Brandon Marsh deserves a lot of freaking credit for how this team has played because of how he has played.
And Brandon Marsh deserves from people like me who have long rooted for him personally,
Sure.
but doubted him professionally. He deserves a huge, my bad, my wrong, because it's gone on long enough to say my wrong.
Like 4 months, yeah.
Yeah,
4 months.
it's been enough.
Look, I'm glad that he's in the corner. I don't want him to be the center fielder.
I've always wanted that.
You know?
I've always wanted that.
I think we said a couple of times you can't win a World Series where Brandon Marsh is your starting center fielder.
No, I think that's fine.
Good thing is he's not your center fielder anymore because Harrison Bader, the trade for him, that felt very, okay.
Okay.
He's the best of a bad bunch. He's been spectacular.
What a gift.
An absolute gift, and that's why they got the T-shirts.
That's what we say about Connor.
Now, speaking of a gift, does John Kincade have a gift for us? A love letter to Rob Thompson?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I think Connor will know where I'm going on this. Last night watching that game, there's something that I always harp on that I don't believe. When I tell you about Rob Thompson, I always tell you that, like last week, I was in his clubhouse. And Rob Thompson's clubhouse is a place where it was a rough day. It was the day of the assassination. And the players were very somber and were watching a lot of news coverage and everything. It was very quiet. It was very somber. So it wasn't the normal day. But Rob Thompson runs a clubhouse that over 162 is a very pleasant place, seems like a great place to come to work. And that for a major league manager is a huge, huge plus.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that is really, really great. But one thing I never give Rob Thompson for often is credit as a strategist. Last night in extra innings, and this is with managerial approval guaranteed. And so I'm actually texting with a couple people last night in baseball, they were watching the game late, checking to see if I was still up. And that double steal was so aggressive and was so awesome. And Bader and Harper got the credit for it.
Right.
But it was the manager green lights a double steal in extra innings. Players do not just do that on their own.
Right.
Without the manager saying, if you see it, you go for it. You be aggressive. We want you to do that. When it's one out in extra innings and you've got Bader at second and Harper gets walked, and then they aggressively steal that base, it won the game last night. Because JT Realmuto flies out to right, Bader scores, and because he hustled and they got that double steal. The aggressiveness of Rob Thompson, the balls of Rob Thompson, the guts of Rob Thompson to call that double steal in extra innings, to go out there and say, we need to be aggressive to win this game. Topper, that was great strategy. That was aggressive. That was what I was saying I wanted to see more of Nick Sirianni doing on Sunday. I loved it, and that's something that I need to see more of, but I want to make sure I give credit for it when you do it, because that was brilliant. And by the way, I say this, with the Phillies roster, and I think it's ironic they win 90 games. I always say 90 wins for this Phillies roster and what they spend on it and everything. I think 90 wins should be the floor.
Absolutely, yeah.
But 90 wins, they go out and win 95, 96, win the division, win a 2 seed. I don't think that a bye week should be the floor. I think 90 wins should be the floor. They've reached the floor. Now they can secure better stuff. And that's a credit to the manager, too, who has done a really, really good
I love this.
Got to be fair. You have to be fair. But his strategy, last night was a great strategy night. That was a great strategy night, and it worked. Even with Duran blowing the save, nobody would have seen that coming.
No, nobody.
On an 0-2 pitch with a grooved 0-2 pitch, I can't believe it.
By the way, in 2021, Blake Trinan, who was on the mound during the double steal, he allowed 17 stolen bases. So maybe that was we can run on this guy.
Ruben brought that up, and he goes a lot of times that is film study before a game.
Yeah.
That they know it, and the manager knows it, and the manager says, you see it, you go.
Look at this.
That's great.
Proud of you.
Topper gets the love. Look, I'm going to be fair at no end. He'll get the love.
Damn right. Love it.
Good job,
All right,
Rob.
coming up next, we'll check our text line. Regardless of how you feel about this team, last night's a celebration, this morning's a celebration. Can you, the negative fan, there's a lot of you, and I'm down, can you celebrate today? Can you just close your eyes and just remember the good times of 07 to 11 and the dancing on my own in 2022 and forget everything that you think about this team and how it might end? Can you just enjoy a day? Before we check our first text, a moment in last night's game that we all needed to see because it meant something. And it's a reminder of what could be in October. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia is a sports city full of passionate and knowledgeable fans.
You're intelligent.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew Makuba.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew Makuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
For the 6320975. By the way, I listened to Unfiltered yesterday when they had the new voice memo segment. It was actually awesome.
How'd it go?
It was great.
I heard them soliciting it, and I think it's a great idea.
It was awesome, and even Michael Barkan chimed in.
What?
To rip Ricky Bo.
Barkan was on doing that?
Yeah, so it was cool. So check that out with Unfiltered in the 5 o'clock hour. But I love that it's another way to communicate for people that don't want to wait on hold. They can text in, obviously, or they can leave a voice memo at 610-632-0975, just like you would if you're driving your car and you want to do the voice to talk, whatever. Something happened last night that we needed to see. Bryce Harper hitting that home run in a 4-4 ball game to give the Phillies the lead. And I know eventually Duran gives up the run the 9th inning and it goes to extra innings. But it was great to see Bryce Harper hit a clutch home run. There has been numbers to back it up that the clutch situations have been very down for Harper this year, or his production during the clutch situations have been very down. The game last week, I forget, the Marlins, when they fought their way back, and he's up to bat with 2 guys on, and I'm sitting there going, all right, come on, Harp. and it's like a weak grounder to second base, and I'm like, damn, it's been that kind of a year.
It has not been. He has not. Bryce Harper, and it was funny is our own Brendan Petrilli, who is also Baltimore's Brendan Petrilli.
Yeah.
Was saying like Bryce Harper, the most clutch player in Major League Baseball history. He's had a lot of clutch moments. This year, he has not been clutch.
No, he has not.
Last night, he came through in a clutch moment. It was a big one. And I begged earlier in the game, come on, he had 2 opportunities to come through, and he didn't.
Right.
The third opportunity, he came through.
We needed to see that. And it was great to see. And look,
big time.
He's all of a sudden at 27 home runs. It's going to be one of these seasons where, like, 10 years from now, we'll go, damn, he was good that year. But when we're living in it, we realize that he hasn't been Bryce Harper. The wrist injury obviously played a major factor into that. He missed time because of it. He was not himself before he took the time off. He was not necessarily himself afterward. But what we saw a couple of years ago, that night in St. Louis, when Miles Michaelis hung a curveball for about 15 seconds, Bryce Harper hit it out of St. Louis. It was an absolute moonshot. And then Bryce Harper became a robot the rest of the postseason up until the final 2 games of the World Series against the Houston Astros. I hope that moment last night could be that moment where Bryce Harper is once again Bryce Harper. And I love the reporting, not the stare down of the cameraman, but the reporting of Ken Rosenthal the other day when he spoke with Bryce Harper. And Bryce Harper, he basically asked him, hey, you're usually the guy. You haven't been this year. And Bryce Harper gave a very real answer of, I just want to win. I don't care that I'm not like the Bryce Harper that everybody knows. Like, I got Schwarber, because Kyle Schwarber is obviously the face of the team this year.
Who did he sound like?
Jalen?
Yeah.
And I love that.
It sounded like Jalen Hurts.
The main thing.
And that's great for a Cowboy fan to be quoting Jalen Hurts. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
That's a good thing for a Cowboy fan to be putting a guy like Jalen Hurts front and center. That's great.
But it was nice to see that clutch home run, not just a home run.
Huge hit.
A clutch home run that gives the Phillies a late lead on the road in L.A. against a team you very well could be playing in the NLDS.
I don't see how you're not. I don't believe. I want to believe what you guys believe.
I don't understand why you shoot it down so quick.
Well,
I just chance to win the 1 seed.
There's a chance. Is there a chance? Sure.
Yes.
Is it likely? I do not believe so.
Well,
I don't believe it's likely. The Brewers' magic number over us is 10. Is it unlikely? Yeah, I think it's unlikely. But sure, we'll see what happens. If it gets closer by the end of the week, sure, we'll get after it.
I'm all about the chance.
By the time we get to Delco on Friday morning, we all roll into Delco.
Rally
we'll tell
House,
people
baby.
about that. Rally House in Springfield on Friday. The heart of Delco. That's the heart of Delco.
Damn right.
That's where, the battle lines are drawn in Delco.
So here was how it sounded last night. Here's Bryce Harper's clutch home run in the top of the 8th inning last night.
Fly ball, right center field. That's hit well. Going back is call. It is gone. Home run, Bryce Harper. And the Phillies have retaken the lead. Almost the same spot as Schwarber's home run.
That, of course, Tom McCarthy, NBC Sports Philadelphia. And, yes, Kyle Schwarber did it again last night. Home run number 53 in the first inning. I love that the Dodgers go, you know what? Let's try to recreate the wheel here. Instead of starting Sheehan, which we were supposed to, we're going to put Banda in because he's a lefty. And so let's do the opener to try to get through the first couple batters.
Get through the first couple batters.
And then
they get screwed.
They forgot that Kyle Schwarber has 22 home runs against left-handed pitching this year. Bang! 1-0 Flames. All right, what do we got on the text line on this celebratory Tuesday morning, Connor?
All right, so Sean checks in, and he texted us last week when we had the hope conversation about what you need to see to create hope. And he said, since my text last Tuesday morning, the Phillies only scored less than 6 runs 1 time in a week. The hope is real with this team.
Okay.
I love that
Good.
There's hope. And that's why I think we talked about that last week. Like, we needed the Phillies to take down the Mets so that there was more hope in the city.
I need to know from you guys, because I did not listen to you, even though I love you guys. I did not listen when I was away. The Thursday morning after the Mets series.
I was off the Thursday morning.
Oh, you were off the Thursday morning. Okay, then give me just the mood of that Mets.
2.
Give me the mood of those mornings.
Not happy?
Yeah,
well, I mean, because my timeline,
I was
honestly,
pissed, dude.
my timeline was littered with They're blowing the division. This team can't do anything. This team is terrible. This team is gutless. My timeline was 5-1 negative tweets.
Yeah.
And it was, but with proclamations that this team sucks.
No, we didn't say the division was over.
I didn't think you guys would. Well, you had already picked the Mets.
But I was worried I was worried about the bright lights and how, for whatever reason, the Mets could play in them and the Phillies could not. Now, look, that was at Citi Field. Who knows the difference?
Because they're the best team against the best teams.
There's all the theories that the Mets are doing something at Citi Field. I don't know. We'll see. Like, the Phillies just could not beat them. And I was down, dude. I was really down. That's why I needed Sanity Week. And they did more for me than I could have expected. Because I was just hoping to play good baseball. They swept the Mets in 4 games. But the worst day for me was the 13-3 when they were up 3-0.
The first game of that series.
And then the Mets come back to tie it 3-3, and you're still sitting there going, all right, I kind of expect this give and take. Let's see the next punch from the Phillies. And then they got punched again and punched again and punched again and then curb stomped and lost 13-3. And then the next night they lost again. And I'm sitting there going, this sucks. But fortunately, Sanity Week happened.
Go to your betting apps. You can bet this morning the Phillies, the best odds to win the World Series.
League-wide?
On my BetParks app.
League-wide, huh?
League-wide.
How about that?
Best odds to win the World Series. And I've already put a little money on it this morning. I already placed one bet before, put a little more money on it this morning.
How about that?
Why not?
Johnny
Why
tickets.
not?
All right, coming up next, we continue to celebrate the National League East crown, but we do also open up some Eagles discussion because the offense wasn't great on Sunday. Was it also predictable? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5, The Fanatic Sports Update.
Back-to-back division titles. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Philadelphia Phillies are officially NL East champions for the second straight year. They beat the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings last night to lock up the division crown. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, Bryce Harper all had big homers in the game. And David Robertson, he got in a bit of a jam there in the bottom of the 10th. Bases loaded, and then you heard this on NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
The next goal for the Phillies is make sure they got enough sleep to play a game today. But after that, it's trying to lock down a first-round bye. They have a 5.5-game lead over those Dodgers for the 2-seed. Game 2 is tonight at 10:10 p.m. Christopher Sanchez faces Shohei Ohtani. The Eagles are starting their prep for a matchup with the 2-0 Rams on Sunday, a divisional round rematch. Eagles coordinators will meet with media coming up at 11:30 a.m. today. And we'll be listening closely for what Kevin Fatullo's explanation is of the offensive performance this past week in Kansas City. We'll talk to Amy Fadul for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Anthony Sanfilippo of On Pattison joins us at 9:25 live from out in L.A. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia is a sports city full of passionate and knowledgeable.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouva.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way he sort of grasps things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew Makuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Seven o'clock, going to play you something from one Dan Orlovsky, who said something, I believe it was on NFL Live yesterday, that kind of scared the hell out of me because it was something that we were saying 2 years ago. Now, again, that was 2 years ago. It's only been 2 weeks. Kevin Patullo can improve. The opening 3 drives in week 1, we weren't saying stuff like predictable offense, right?
Right.
But it became predictable in week 2. And so hopefully that was just a blip on the radar against a really good Chiefs defense, against Steve Spagnuolo, not having much time to drop back, not having much time to scan the field, not having receivers open to scan the field with, right? So hopefully it was just a blip in the radar, and that's why we're not panicking. But Dan Orlovsky said something that kind of just brought back a dark time in Philadelphia when it came to an offensive coordinator named Brian Johnson. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But today, first and foremost, is a celebratory day. Phillies winning the National League East yesterday. Now, I want to address a comment on our YouTube chat.
Okay.
Because we all have our favorites, and we all have our constant ragging on people.
Okay.
So Philly Eagles 215, who loves the show and disagrees with every opinion that I have, however, has the exact same opinion I have.
Well, then how does he – that doesn't make any sense what you just said.
Exactly.
He disagrees with everything you say, but
and then I see him say something that is exactly word for word what I've been saying.
Okay.
Anyways, he says, I love how Andrew Salciunas hopped off the bandwagon once Wheeler was out for the year, and now he's back on. Laughing emoji.
You never jumped off the bandwagon.
No, I just thought that the World Series chances.
You just said the chances were done for them to win a World Series.
But as I have said over and over and over again, to the point where I made the promise the day you were out that, hey, just because I feel this way doesn't mean I'm not gonna have fun, and that doesn't mean like first game in Citizens Bank Park against the Dodgers or Mets or whoever, I'm decked out in Phillies red. Let's go, baby. But he follows up and says, this was a nice run, but I don't think they have enough firepower for the Dodgers in the playoffs. Calling it now, the Dodgers are going back-to-back. So what are you saying different than what I've been saying?
Okay, but what I don't get there is that the Phillies now the Phillies, too, have been the better team against the Dodgers now for quite a few years where they play them head-to-head.
Sure.
The Phillies play the Dodgers really well.
They do play them really well. They have some sort of answer for Ohtani. I know he had a big hit yesterday late, but they have some sort of answer against Ohtani.
They handle Freddie Freeman well.
Yes, they do.
I mean, the Phillies play the Dodgers well. And more importantly, anyone insinuating that you jumped off the bandwagon,
I don't understand it, but that's okay.
Is ridiculous.
We
because
all have our lovers. We all have our haters.
Someone jumping off the bandwagon means I'm done with the team.
Done.
I'm not watching this team. They suck. They're awful. They're ridiculous. That's different. You're not jumping off the bandwagon. You're just being honest. You're telling what you think. When you pick,
that's what this job is, by the way.
And you do. Look, by the way, we're wrong all the time. Like I had to apologize for a couple things earlier. Not apologize, but acknowledge a few things I was wrong about.
Sure,
I'm willing to do that. You've talked about it when you after the trade deadline you picked the Mets.
Yes, because I thought that their bullpen.
You haven't run from that. You haven't run from that. We acknowledge what we get wrong because we also will amplify when we get it right.
But also we celebrate when we're wrong.
It's
when
good to be wrong.
Negative.
It's good to be wrong, especially if the Phillies prove you wrong or the Eagles prove you wrong. That's an awesome thing.
Hell yeah, man.
Because we benefit from it.
I'll let you guys know when I have my first miss. But when that time comes, I'll admit it too.
I'm just glad I want to get you a big cheese head. Connor was talking Packers this morning with me, and I'm going.
I said,
Connor argued Packers with me all summer as I tried to convince Connor that the Packers, I thought, could be them or the Bucs are the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC. And you argue, and now you're like all packered up. I'm like, okay, welcome aboard.
Maybe I just like to argue with you, Johnny.
Welcome aboard.
Maybe that could be it, too.
That could be, too.
All right, what do we got on the text line as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And then we will play you this audio from Dan Orlovsky, because later in the 7 o'clock hour, last week was Sanity Week. John is titling this week something else, and it's not just L.A. week, as the Phillies are in L.A. facing the Dodgers, and the Eagles will host the Rams on Sunday. But what do we got on the text line about our fightings, Connor?
Well, I got my dad trying to figure out what happened in the game last night, because I think like a lot of people, he went to bed.
He went to bed?
If you're finding out, yes, the Phillies are NL East champions. Joe the Cynic checks in and says, after the Phillies having a much-deserved celebration, anyone else taking the Dodgers money line tonight?
Well, the one thing...
Yeah, it's probably a smart play.
I'm going to give you a warning. Last night, I told you would have been a good night because of the Phillies' travel delays. They got to the hotel very, very late in L.A. after landing. The charter had problems and everything. Last night would have been a night that you would have caught them flat-footed. Christopher Sanchez, I'm just going to tell you, is not a guy that I would expect to have a big hangover today. So that's all I'm going to say is the starting pitcher has been dominant most of the year.
So what you're saying is a 1-0 win.
No, they're going to need to scratch out a run or two.
Yeah, might be a possibility. By the way, in case people did not stay up for the game last night, Kyle Schwarber hit a home run in the first inning, his 53rd of the season, but it was a 6-5 extra inning final.
Gosh.
We're going to do a segment on the bullpen rotation coming up in a little bit because Orion Kerkering had another miscue where he gives up a home run in the game. And then Johan Duran, surprisingly...
on an 0-2 pitch,
0-2 pitch,
it.
Yep.
And like, of all the things that you don't... And you know what, though? Shrug it off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only home run he's given up as a Philly. But Connor, that pitch.
Yeah, it was a hanging curveball at the letters, and Andy Pages hits it out of the ballpark, makes it the 5-5 game. And then, obviously, Duran gets out of the inning. They go to extras. The double steal, as you talked about,
which
for the
was,
Phillies,
by the way,
fantastic.
ultra aggressive. And Bader, who had done nothing all night long, comes up with, leads the charge on the double steal. And Harper, too, hustling his way behind him. It was great.
And those aggressive moves allows a sac fly from JT Realmuto that was not deep. It's not like it was at the warning track. He just hit it deep enough for Bader to score. Phillies get the win 6-5 because David Robertson goes into the 9th inning and gets
10th inning.
Yeah, 10th inning and gets out of it.
And it was he was stones last night.
Yes, he was, man.
He was
bases
absolute
loaded.
stones.
Gets base load 1 out, and he gets 2 outs, a pop out of Miggy Rojas, and then the ground out
Got
for
3
Max
outs
Muncy.
because JT needs to catch that bunt that was popped up.
That's a good point.
Wait a minute. That's a hard play.
That's a play that's got to be made.
BCIB, baby.
Oh, I guarantee you he is going to say that. Like he'd say that. He'd call himself, hold himself to that standard. But that's a damn hard play.
Salciunas makes that play.
Hell
He's
yeah,
sliding.
man. You see me back there.
He's sliding, and that ball's got a little backspin and everything. I'm telling you, now JT's just got to get the plate worked out again. The bat worked out again. But he can do it.
Speaking of JT, just a little PSA as we head into Red October.
What's that?
Stop shaking him off.
Yeah, there we go. There we
feels
go.
like every time.
Remember Wheeler earlier this year? He was like, I shook him off one time, and I gave up a home run.
Just don't do it.
All right, so look, the Phillies conversation is not going away. We're celebrating the Phillies all day long today. We promise, but we also have some Eagles stuff that we want to get into today. And I want to play you something from Dan Orlovsky, who we may be speaking with today. We'll let you know. Dan Orlovsky on NFL Live yesterday talking about the Eagles' offense in their Week 2 performance against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, the pass game right now feels very predictable, and that's very specific to A.J. Brown. 10 times yesterday, 10. They had A.J. Brown basically line up at the same spot and run essentially the same route. Now, at times it works because he's A.J. Brown, but there has to become more variance in relation to A.J. Brown's route running and what they do off of it. There's a reality where the defense just knew what he was running. Bottom of the screen, he's going to go up 5 yards and run an in-breaker. You're going to motion him 2 or 3 yards outside the numbers. He goes run up 5 yards and basically sit at an in-breaker. He's 4 yards outside the numbers. He's going to go to 5 yards and run an in-breaker. He's going to line up 3 or 4 yards outside the numbers, and he's going to run a 5-yard in-breaker. I mean, these are just way too consistent. Now, they get away with it at times because he is so dominant. But if I'm watching this and you're a defensive coordinator and you're saying when A.J. Brown is 5 yards or 4 yards outside of the numbers, A.J. Brown is going to push up to 5 yards and run a slant or a short in. And so through 2 games, there's just this minimization of the routes that A.J. is running, and there is a predictability. You watched it on the Chiefs. They kind of knew exactly where A.J. was going to go in relation to where he was starting in the game, or at least where he was starting his route lineup-wise and where he ends up. So there needs to be some route variation for A.J. Brown in their pass game to get better. They win the game. They made some big-time plays, but that is something they have to look at.
Now, that's not a take. That's a
he showed
film to back it up.
He showed at least 5 clips to back it up. I ask you the question again. Is there any chance you think he's nursing an injury still?
I don't know. I mean, by all reports.
Do you think there's any? Well, no, they're not going to tell us anything.
Right, I understand.
They're not going to tell us anything. But it's so obvious that he's not. There's something. It's very weird.
Sure.
It's very, very weird.
But the word predictable and predictability.
You don't want to hear it.
No, because, again, I will remind you of the time I was in your hometown watching the Birds-Bucks playoff game, and the people I was doing the watch party with, I was saying, hey, $100, they run a bubble screen here. Because I just saw the way they lined up. And I'm radio host Andrew Salciunas.
By the way, just sold.
Oh, did it really?
Just sold.
Oh, that's
closing.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, it's closing.
I'm just a guy, right? Like Dan Orlovsky sees it more, and to his point, defensive coordinators see it more. Now, look, that doesn't mean this is what the offense is, and it doesn't mean they can't make adjustments.
And Dan Orlovsky is telling you and others, if you're making a bunch of excuses for the offensive coordinator, you are, let's just say, you're really stretching.
So
you're really stretching.
Last week in Philadelphia, it was Sanity Week. When it came to the Phillies, I needed to see them play well against the Mets. They did even more of that. They swept the New York Mets. This week, John Kincade is calling it No Excuses Week.
I love this. I used to use this.
We'll talk about Kevin Patullo next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Every game day right before the Birds take the field, check out the Birds Insider pregame.
When you've seen the first two games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCuba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Watch my hopes
You got the high hopes
T-shirt
one on.
with the ant carrying a rubber tree plant, and I love it. And so I wanted to wear it today in celebration of the Phillies winning the National League East, and I think of Harry, man.
I
Every
had
once in a
the
while.
couple requests this morning. Baseballism.
Oh yeah, you're a big baseballism fan.
Look for baseballism. By the way, when the battery is built here in Philadelphia, we will have a baseballism store here.
Love that.
So it's a baseball-themed apparel company, but you can look at baseballism on the web and find it. You can buy all stuff like this.
I
People
can't
want the
wait
shirt.
for that battery so that it's
gonna be
even
fun.
more fun down at the sports.
It's gonna be
complex.
tons
Can we throw it?
Tons of great stuff.
No.
Well, I think it is ironic that there's going
That
to be
is
something
true.
called the battery there.
All right, so we'll get back to our Phillies text here momentarily. But, John, you are titling this week. After I titled last week Sanity Week for the Phillies, you are titling this week No Excuses Week for...
After you already called it L.A. Week, and it is L.A. Week.
Yeah, it is.
But we sort of took the L.A. Week out of the question last night. Like as far as the beginning of the L.A. Week, the
Yeah.
first part of it.
Yeah,
'Cause now-
we got the major one done yesterday.
Because I'm telling you this. I'll stay up as long as I can keep my eyes open tonight, then I'm going to bed.
You're not going
Then I'm
all
going
9
to bed.
innings. Yeah.
Because, last night was too late. But, yeah, it's No Excuses Week. And it's something that I would term, back in the day, I would use it every single year, once a week, back in the day for Kirby Smart and Mark Rick's Georgia Bulldogs. I would always use this No Excuses Week. There was 1 week of the year where I would say, okay, no more excuses. There would be like where you hear fans like, this is the rivalry you never beat, or this is
Sure.
no excuses. I'm telling you, the excuses that were offered for Kevin Patullo through the first 2 weeks are really, really strange.
Now, what excuses did you see other than first-time
Well,
coordinator?
no, here's one. First-time coordinator is one that I was getting a lot of. It's a first-time coordinator, so you got to be patient with him. I would tell you this, and it was a beautiful point. That's where we get, if we get Dan Orlovsky, if he does join us. Not many first-time coordinators get to come in and have an incredible tool set, like the greatest tool set ever at their disposal, and get to take over something that is already great. Here's what I would suggest to you. If in business you are hired to be a first-time hotel manager,
Sure.
and you take over the Fontainebleau in Miami Beach, it's your first time being a hotel manager, but you take over the Fontainebleau. Mm-hmm. They don't get to say, well, it's going to go in the crapper for a few months and everything while you get your feet under you. No. You step into something that's great. You're expected to keep it at a fantastic level.
Sure.
Before you do. It's not supposed to take a step back to 30th in yards per play. Terrible. That is terrible. When you have the best offensive line or one of them. When you've got A.J. Brown, when you've got Devontae Smith, when you've got the Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts. That's terrible. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. You're trying to make excuses. Kevin Patullo is underwater right now. And guess what? It can be okay if he fixes it. It can be fixed.
Right. It's not. You're not saying this is who he is.
Right. But if he fixes it. But I'm just going to give you a little number because this is the barometer of why it's No Excuses Week. Because I kept an eye on it because I always like with the Red Zone channel with YouTube TV being able to bounce over and watch games. I watched a lot of the Rams taking on the Titans.
Because we're playing the Rams this weekend.
I watched Cam Ward in his second career start. By the way, with an offensive coordinator he doesn't know. A second start in the NFL going up against this Rams defense.
Which is a good Rams defense, by the way.
Really, really good. So we're going to hear about that all week long. Here's what Cam Ward did this weekend. He led an 11-play, 48-yard drive. A 10-play, 11-play, 48-yard field goal drive. A 10-play, 56-yard touchdown drive. A 3-play, 27-yard field goal drive with the clock running out in the first half up against the Rams defense trying to keep him from getting a field goal. Then he had an 11-play, 35-yard field goal drive and a 12-play, 48-yard drive in the fourth quarter. Very similar to what Jalen Hurts likes to do. Short. Those drives aren't a lot of chunk plays.
Right.
A lot of short stuff. But Cam Ward, in his second NFL start, was able to control the ball, long drives, bleed clock, keep the Rams from having the ball. And that was with an offensive coordinator who doesn't have the pedigree and doesn't have the toolbox. So I don't want to hear any excuses next Monday morning if Kevin Patullo in this offense comes out and has another crappy week. And yes, they've had a crappy 2-week start to the season. The worst under Nick Sirianni, by the way. And by the way,
six quarters. First half was good against Cowboys.
No, but I mean, no, that's the worst. Through 2 games, it's the worst. They're sitting the worst that they've been under Nick Sirianni in his 4. This is his 5th year as head
when
coach.
you said it's been a terrible first 2 weeks, the first 2 quarters against the Cowboys were not terrible.
Well, I'm not doing 2. I'm doing 2 weeks. That's what I said. The first 2 weeks under Nick Sirianni, this is his worst offense that he's had in his 5 years. That's inexcusable. They're Super Bowl champs. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. They have more talent than they've ever had. Stop with the excuses for Kevin Patullo. Stop with last year you were complaining about the offense coordinator. No, we weren't. Not through 2 weeks. Week 3 and week 4 we had some complaints, but not through the first 2 weeks. There are numerous numbers, and I've got more later if we need them. Younger quarterbacks and first-time offensive coordinators in the NFL who have gotten off to better starts this year significantly than what we're seeing in Philadelphia with all these tools. So stop it. Stop with the knee-jerk, I've just got to excuse make for Kevin Patullo. He has done a poor job so far. Hopefully it will get better. I'm not labeling him, and we're lucky that we've survived and we're 2-0.
2-0's nice. All right, so coming up next, I already see people wanting to react to this.
Good.
And there's a couple of comments on YouTube that believe it's contradictory to what we've been saying, and I'm going to tell you right now it's not. Because the term patience is for one side of the ball, and we've been very clear about that throughout all of training camp in the preseason. We'll discuss more about that coming up next. Also, as we continue to celebrate the Phillies winning the National League East yesterday, John, this year's been wild, right? There were times we wanted players off the roster. There were times we wanted players in AAA to get called up and players on the major league level to get sent down or DFA'd. Has the roster decisions for the playoffs all of a sudden become difficult? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils lock up the division. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Philadelphia Phillies are officially NL East champions for the 2nd straight season. They beat the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings, I guess earlier this morning, to lock up the division crown. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, and Bryce Harper all had big homers in the game, and David Robertson got into a little bit of trouble in the 10th inning, but as you can hear on NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the 2nd consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
Damn right they are. Next goal up for the Phillies is to try and lock down that 2 seed. They'll play the Dodgers again tonight. They have a 5.5 game lead over those Dodgers. It's a 10:10 p.m. start. Christopher Sanchez faces Shohei Ohtani. Eagles are starting their prep for a matchup with the 2-0 Rams on Sunday. Eagles coordinators will meet with media at 11:30 today, and we'll be able to hear from Kevin Patullo on his explanation of the offensive performance in Kansas City. We'll talk to Amy Fadul for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Anthony Sanfilippo will join us at 9:25 live from L.A. for the latest on the Phils. This update's brought to you by BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook. Live bet sports on the BetParks app and play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook app. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Every game day right before
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy. The Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jihad Campbell and safety Drew McCuba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he sort of grasps things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
The Fanatic on this NL East Championship Tuesday as the Phillies beat the Dodgers in extra innings late this morning. Early this morning, I guess I should say, because it was not last night as it crossed into the wee hours of the morning, and we're celebrating it here today with you. And you can continue to chime in at 610-632-0975. My question for the people that's already gotten some pushback from some of the haters. Regardless of your opinion of this baseball team, regardless of what you think the end might be,
Okay.
I know a lot of people have allowed that to ruin their enjoyment of the Phillies this season. It has not allowed me to not enjoy the highs. And last night is one of those moments where you go, wow, 4th straight year they're going to the playoffs. 2nd straight year they've won the NL East, something that we don't see that often in Philadelphia. It's been a while, right? There was a 14-year playoff drought, and now it's a 4 straight season playoff appearance and back-to-back NL East champs. So regardless of what you think about this team, regardless of the people throughout the course of the season that would text in, wake me up until, when October comes around, did last night, did you just be able to enjoy yourself? I sure hope so.
If you couldn't,
then I don't know what the point of watching is, right?
Like if you didn't enjoy last night, you're not a fan.
Could be.
You're not a fan. And don't tell me, well, I'm a fan anyway, I want a fan. No, you're not a fan.
Right.
If you don't celebrate your team winning, you're not a fan.
Even if
you sit there and say,
it's just a smile on your face.
you're not a fan.
You can text in, you can call in 610-632-0975.
Spin it any way you try to. You're not a fan.
Also, John Kincade has titled this week No Excuses Week for Kevin Petullo.
Yeah.
So I saw one of our comments on YouTube, and it was from our man Trevor Rice. Now, look, Trevor may not be able to listen to every single second of the show. So Trevor chimes in saying, can you have a no excuse week during the first 4 games that we have stated to be patient during? Like the style points.
There's no style
points.
Kind of style points do not matter. But it matters if you have a crappy performance, you can still say the team is all that's important is racking the wins. Right. I said as long as they get 3-1, which by the way I said was the minimum that I would accept for September. And I also said 4-0 was more likely than 2-2 to me. 3-1, I was fine. And then in October, it would be that. But individual performances, Kevin Petullo's performance is bad now. And I have heard nothing but tap dancing with, just come on, give him time. Give him time. If you take over Connor, what's a great bar in Philly you love going to?
Garage Fishtown.
Okay, Garage in Fishtown. If
second home.
If the manager at Garage in Fishtown leaves for another fine establishment, and they bring in Louis, and Louis comes in after his IRS problems are cleaned up, Louis comes in and he's the new manager. They don't say, "Hey Louis, you're taking over a great spot that's always packed, that is making a killing and everything, but we're going to let the business slide for a few months while you get your feet wet." No. Louis is expected to absolutely, at bare minimum, maintain where that business is. I swear to you, I'm hearing such excuses.
Well, guess what? Louis 2-0.
The Eagles are 2-0.
Exactly.
This offense is 30th.
So real quick,
it's
again,
pathetic.
Going back to the patience word that Trevor had in his YouTube comment, just to remind everybody, John and I both said patience with defense because it's once again a new look defense.
All the young players.
You have a rookie linebacker, rookie safety. There are no excuses for the Eagles offense considering that 10 of 11 starters are back, and the one that was not a starter played last year in Tyler Steen whenever Mekhi Becton had to exit the game or miss a game. Tyler Steen has been on this team for now. This is his 3rd season. He knows the offense. He knows how it operates. I understand it's a new coordinator, but a lot of the things are the same. So there is little patience for the offense. Fortunately, they're 2-0.
Yes, fortunately,
and
they're
again,
2-0.
this is not who he is. Maybe he is. I don't know. We don't know that yet. But I understand where John's coming from for the first 2 weeks.
I mean, it's absurd to try to make excuses for this. It's been a poor performance with a P in front of it.
I don't think it's absurd to make excuses through 2 weeks, given what they've faced, right? Okay, so let's talk about it.
What have they faced?
Obviously, the Dallas game, we see with the way that they played New York, that defense was not as good as they looked in the second half against the Eagles. Now, you could look at the whole hour-long lightning delay just when you were getting momentum that might have killed your opportunity to run the offense you want to, or give the defense time to game plan a little bit better for what you're doing. You don't get that normally. That's not a normal thing. And then you're going on the road for a Super Bowl rematch with a highly motivated Kansas City team in a tough environment with a good defense. Like, I'm not ready to get to the point with Kevin Petullo where week 3 of a 2-0 team has to be no excuses.
Yeah, it should be no excuses because I've just watched a rookie quarterback in his 2nd game I just showed you what he
Score
did.
17 points and throw for 1 touchdown.
His numbers were almost double what Jalen Hurts did last week.
I got you. No,
So as a rookie quarterback in his second start against the Rams defense, almost doubled what we saw out of Jalen Hurts last week.
Right.
So
Daniel
at home,
Jones is leading the NFL in passing.
So
It's early.
this week, it's not about being early, Connor. This is a team that shouldn't need early.
It's exactly
With
about
all
being
this,
early.
They're
with all
loaded,
this talent
Connor.
on offense, it should not look like it's a damn
I
struggle.
mean,
for every
seriously, it
yard.
shouldn't be a struggle bus
And
with all this talent.
I said that yesterday. The scratching and
ridiculous.
clawing for every yard is very much like 2 years ago. That doesn't mean it's going to be that way. But when I already hear one of the lead analysts on the national level in Dan Orlovsky, who will be joining us soon, he said,
Good.
let me text you when I get in my car, because he did Monday Night Football last night. They had a
He did.
doubleheader yesterday. When he's already talking about how it's predictable,
And
that's concerning.
Yeah,
more-
I have concerns. Absolutely, I have concerns.
And that's exactly what this is. And the concerns, though, with this kind of talent, it's alarming.
Right, but
This is alarming.
having concerns versus drawing line in the sand, no excuses, week 3. That's too early for me.
Yeah, there's no excuses for this offense to ever be 30th, period. There's no excuses for this kind of talent to ever be 30th in
Yeah.
the NFL through 2 weeks, period. No, it's not too early.
It's
none
too
of this.
early.
None of this stuff. No,
All right,
we
let's-
We did
give
this
it-
last
give it
year.
time.
Let's go to the people. Let's go to Brian in Dallas, who's an Eagles fan. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, hey John, hey man, listen, I'm with you. I'm sorry, Connor. I apologize, but I'm
No,
with
it's
John
okay.
100%. And with this offense, like here's what I'll say. Right, one, John was talking about maybe AJ Brown could be hurt. I don't think so because remember they did take a shot at him deep. It was with Hurt's arm hit Steen's helmet.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
AJ was open by. He even slowed down to try to catch the ball and almost had it. So to me, it is the play calling, man. Because remember, we played Dallas, right? Saquon's best run, they were in the box. His best run was a toss outside. That was his best run. They threw a screen to Will Shipley outside. It was both of those plays were relatively chunk plays. After that, he ran like 9 straight times in the gap in a box and didn't change. I think we gained like 4 yards on nine of those carries. It seemed like he just has limited awareness of what the defense is giving him. He just simply calling plays he's familiar with, not necessarily calling plays that's in the flow of the game, not calling one play to set up something else.
And
John, I believe, he's a
And Dan
Go ahead,
Orlovsky
John.
Orlovsky pointed out, like, all the running into the loaded boxes the first week, and
Yeah.
that's a other team having a one-up on.
And thanks, Brian. We appreciate
Thank
the
you,
call.
Bri.
Look, this goes back to a concern that we had before the season started. He knows more football than we do. Kevin
Absolutely
Patullo.
he does.
This is not he doesn't know what he's doing. But there is a difference between knowing football and being able to call plays when the clock's ticking,
Yes.
knowing what the defense is giving you. Now, look, it has only been 2 games. So maybe week 3, week 4, week 5, maybe he looks better. He's starting to get more of a feel, which is a possibility.
I guarantee you he will, because the talent, he just has to.
Right. And he's
With
not going to
this
be going up
talent.
against Spags every single
Yes,
week. So maybe this
exactly.
week's better. We'll see. But that doesn't mean we have to just be like, all right, it's all right. Let's see how it plays
More
out.
importantly, bend over backwards to try to make excuses for it. It's bad.
Oh, it's Nick's guy, man.
Seriously.
All right, coming up next, we may have Dan Orlovsky. We will keep you updated on when Orlovsky will be coming on. He just landed, and so he's going to get in the car. My man took a red eye. We appreciate that he's going to come on.
That's amazing.
If he's not on in the next segment, I have something for the Phillies that I want to get into. The roster decisions that may have all of a sudden become difficult. Also, ESPN did one of their executive polls, but for baseball. The team to beat in the AL and NL. We'll tell you who the NL team is and their biggest threat next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
The Fanatic's Andrew DiCecco, the Philadelphia Inquirer's.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
National League East yesterday, and we're just asking, regardless of how you feel about this team, because I know there's a lot of people that are down about this team, can you just freaking enjoy yourself after a night like last night? There should be no reason for you to not enjoy it, and if you didn't enjoy it, then you got to watch something else.
Just watch something else.
I have a question, and it's an interesting question,
What's that?
I think. Did the roster decisions all of a sudden become more difficult recently?
I'm fascinated by this. Tell me.
So, remember, it wasn't that long ago where we wanted Max Kepler off the team, DFA Jordan Romano, which I think everyone's still all right with that. We didn't know who in the bullpen would do what. You add players like Duran and David Robertson at the deadline, so that obviously changes all the plans. And you also got the role guys. the Otto Kemps, the Weston Wilsons. These guys are all kind of fighting for that last spot on the roster.
Okay, so you're assuming. Okay, now work under the assumption. So we assume Bohm is back and he's fine.
Yes, Bowman and Turner are back.
Bowman and Turner
and
are back,
and third baseman and
they're
shortstop.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's nice seeing third baseman with pop when they.
It is nice to see some of that.
Yeah.
So, but he's
instead of singles, but
he's not as good at third though.
Correct.
As Bohm.
Correct. Absolutely.
So in the postseason, do you value more defense?
Yeah. No, Bohm's,
So you do.
Bohm's my third base. Like, regardless of me taking that cheap little shot, Bohm's the third base.
Okay.
Not even a second
Yeah,
thought.
not yeah.
No, I mean he's got to be.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this is Otto Kemp just.
Yeah, good for him,
Bravo.
man. Good for him.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and he's
great.
been up and down,
It's great.
and he
It's great.
produces. But, we all know, like, the first role player is Edmundo Sosa, right? He's going to platoon, we think, with Bryson Stott. By the way, real quick, Bryson Stott getting that hit off the lefty yesterday. Big moment in yesterday's game. Driving in a run with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. They bring in the lefty to face him, and he has the big moment there yesterday.
Can I ask one question that I didn't get an explanation for, and Connor, I know you were up for it. Is there any chance Marsh got hurt last night?
Yeah, there was something that was mentioned, I think, on the broadcast.
Why did they take him out?
Castellanos hitting for him was weird. I don't know.
Okay, because I'm
Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I was interested about that. I'll be interested to see what happens to him.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. But Sosa's like the first role guy. Your outfielders, will be Marsh and Bader left and center, and then the platoon, we think, still with Kepler and Nick Castellanos in right field. But they're still like back end of the roster guys. Now, in the NLDS, you don't need to keep 4 starters. You only need 3. So does an Aaron Nola or somebody not make the roster does not mean they're not going to be on the NLCS roster. So do you add another bullpen arm? Or do you add another role player? Obviously, I don't think I want to see Otto Kemp or Weston Wilson ever play in the playoffs, but it wasn't that long ago your season ended with Jay Cave batting, and I don't need that. Like, I need to have somebody that I go, all right, against the lefty, that guy has been able to hit, and that's Weston Wilson. He has been able to hit lefties this year.
Aaron Nola should not be on the NLDS roster.
I think that's a fair assumption to make, or a fair statement to make.
NLCS
Then we
is
can
a
talk.
different question.
Yeah.
I disagree. Because you can leave Walker Buehler and Taijuan Walker off of that and clear up 2 spots. And have Aaron Nola, who has a better recent postseason resume.
Yeah, but are you starting him, or are you coming out of the pen?
No, you
can't
hold
use
him
him in the pen, though.
You hold him in case you need him. He's just kind of the break in case of emergency starter. And I still feel better about that.
It's 3. You only need Suarez,
you only need
Luzardo,
3 starters.
Yeah.
What if one of those guys gets shelled?
No, you only need
No,
3. No, but you're not bringing Nola in the middle of a game.
No, I'm saying for a 4th
No,
game.
like a 4th game. Let's say whoever pitched game. Well, it's not going to be saying whoever pitches poorly, you replace them with Nola.
Because you only get if the guy who pitches poorly isn't getting another start in the NLDS.
Yeah, but like if someone gets hurt or something, you can't roll in and have 3 guys on the roster to pitch. You have to have a 4th starter.
Right, but you need that
use
4th
one of those
starter
other guys
who can also,
be out of the bullpen. So if you bring in Walker Buehler, or you put Walker Buehler there, or you put. Now, I also need to see more Walker
Yeah,
Buehler.
let's just say 2 of those
Walker
3
Buehler.
guys then.
I am absolutely this year. The spot has, and I no one wants to hear it. Taijuan Walker has 5 times earned the spot more than Aaron Nola.
I feel you. But 2
He's
out of those
earned it.
3 guys you can leave off the roster, which gives you the 2 spots for Weston Wilson and Otto Kemp, and then you roll.
Yeah, I do not want Nola on the NLDS roster.
Right, NLCS.
And I
different-
do not
different
think, from
conversation.
what I've been told about Aaron Nola, over some dinner conversation last week down at the stadium, people talking about this that are much more in the know. Aaron Nola would be, I was told, would be perfectly okay with it. Like he is such a team guy.
Sure.
He would understand it, considering the year that he had. He would not cause a stink
But it's
about
also
it.
the strategy. Like, hey, Aaron, you're not going to pitch
Right.
in the NLDS. We will pitch you in the NLCS.
Exactly.
But so we don't want to waste a roster
And-
spot on just because your
Correct.
name.
He would, but I was assured that Aaron Nola is the kind of character.
Sure.
He has the kind of character that he would never be a veteran player that would be in Rob's office going, "You're not doing this to me."
Right.
Look at me. I've been here for. He would be the kind of guy that would be, "I understand it. I'll get ready for the NLCS," with an assurance that hey, we're going to put you in the NLCS
you're gonna pitch,
roster.
Yeah, just be
But
ready
you're
for
not
that
going to be on the
series.
NLDS roster.
All right, so I read this on ESPN this morning. MLB executives, insiders on the 2025 playoff favorites and biggest threats. Two of those favorites. So they voted. Let's see. They had 7, 12, 16, 18, 19.
Okay.
20. 19 people gave their votes. The American League team to beat among these executives and insiders, the Toronto Blue Jays.
I would have thought that would be the answer.
With 6 votes. I still look at the Tigers just because of Skubal, but it's...
But he also had that scare last week, which I think is scaring
that's
people.
True. So they have the Blue Jays as the American League team to beat, with the biggest threat being the Detroit Tigers. In the National League, the biggest threat, they're still going with the Brewers. They got 7 votes, but the Phillies got 5. The Dodgers got 4. The Padres got 2. The Mets got 1. No other team. Like, they're not looking at any other team. They're saying it's these teams are the teams that have a chance to getting to the World Series. But, of course, based off of the voting breakdown, they have the Phillies the biggest threat to the Brewers. And then the Dodgers closely behind them. Again, you know how I felt about the Dodgers team. Like, good for them, having a hell of a season.
Sure.
They're going to be a scary team to face. I just don't see them being like a World Series team. I just don't see it. I see the Phillies, a team that obviously have been there multiple times, and of course the Dodgers. I see them before I see the Brewers. But these are executives. These are people that are inside Major League Baseball, so I always try to value that opinion. But you don't always have to agree with it, Johnny.
No, you don't. I mean, I'm telling you this, Rob's got a tough job to do, but it'll be Rob, Dombrowski, and it's done by a coalition.
Yeah, right. I just hope they don't overthink some things.
I hope they don't
like
either.
they did in 2023
and I hope
with
that Aaron
Christopher
Nola
Sanchez.
is not on the roster.
Yes, just because of his name.
Yeah, let's
All right.
not do that.
Coming up next, we are going to be 24 hours away from our next interview with Adam Schefter when we start the next segment.
I'm ready for it now.
We saw your tweets because a lot of you tweeted the show, tweeted John, tweeted myself.
Ready for it now.
We will talk about what Adam Schefter had to say about the tush push on Get Up Monday morning, and we will issue you a promise for tomorrow's discussion. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Kings of the East. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies are officially National League East champions for the second straight year. They took down the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings to lock up the division crown, I guess, earlier this morning. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, and Bryce Harper all had big home runs in the game, and David Robertson found himself in a little bit of a jam in the 10th inning, and then this happened.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
That audio courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia. So what's up next for the Phillies? Well, first, they do have a baseball game today, so try and get some rest at some point from the celebration. After that, though, it's trying to lock down a first-round bye. They have a 5.5-game lead over the Dodgers for the 2 seed. Game 2 is at 10 p.m. this evening. Christopher Sanchez faces Shohei Ohtani. Eagles are starting their prep for a matchup with the 2-0 Rams Sunday. We'll hear from the coordinators at 11:30 today, including Kevin Patullo. So we'll see what his explanation is for the offensive performance in Kansas City. Amy Fadul will join us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Anthony Sanfilippo at 9:25, and Dan Orlovsky here shortly. This update is brought to you by Prime Big Deal Days. They're coming October 7th and 8th. Save up to 40% on items you've been eyeing. It's the perfect time to shop and save big. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. how they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jihad Campbell and safety Drew McCuba.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
A celebratory day. Phillies National League East champions after their extra inning 6-5 win over the Dodgers in L.A. last night. The big Bryce Harper home run we have celebrated today, making it 5-4. Duran blows the save yesterday. We're not panicking. The great double steal with Bader and Harper in the top of the 10th inning. JT with the big sacrifice fly. And then David Robertson, as dicey as it was, gets out of the jam. And the Phillies win the game yesterday, win the National League East. And there are still chances of winning the 1 seed, which we will get into more in the 8 o'clock hour. But tomorrow, this time tomorrow, we will be joined by our friend, Adam Schefter.
And he is our friend.
He is our friend, and we respect him, and he does great work.
And we don't
a lot of the stuff that I saw on social media yesterday, I laughed at.
And we don't treat guests with disrespect.
No. However,
to use the Stephen A. Smith,
on Monday, yesterday, on Get Up, they were talking about the tush push, and this was Adam Schefter popping off a little bit about the Eagles' win and when the win actually happened.
The biggest thing here to me is that this game was lost in March. This game was lost when the NFL owners refused to ban the tush push from happening. It wasn't lost yesterday. It was lost in March. And there might be a lot of games that the Eagles play that are lost in March because this play is unstoppable. It not only does the defense not know how to handle it, but even the officials don't even know how to handle it. You're seeing the Eagles linemen jump off sides every play, and nothing's called.
It's a false start.
So the officials have no idea. Defenses have no idea, and the Eagles get to do whatever they want on every single play in the tush push. And again, I know people hate it, but they have mastered it.
So we have to be fair here as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. He did not.
I'm going to challenge you on that right away. What you say?
He did not at any point say it should be banned.
Well, I disagree with you.
Did the words "I think it should be banned" come out?
No. He absolutely said it should. He didn't say those words, but he absolutely said it should.
Well, hold on.
You're saying, wait. You said we have to be fair.
Yes.
We have to be respectful. Was that analysis fair? I don't believe so.
I think parts of it were.
Yeah, they were
that
jumping.
That game was not lost.
No, that part's not fair.
That's not fair. So the entire premise of the conversation.
No. You're doing the throw out the whole quote because you don't agree with one thing.
No, the premise of the conversation is that game was lost because of the tush push. That is 100% false.
Yeah, Travis Kelce dropping a ball, falling into the arms of Andrew McCuba.
Was absolutely that was the swing of the game right there.
Yeah,
that was it. Andy Reid making two dumb decisions were much bigger than any of the tush pushes. Those are 3 plays right there that I've given you that are bigger than any of the tush pushes that determined the outcome of that game. So the premise is false.
Now, the beauty is we have him on tomorrow, and we can ask him, hey, does this mean you want it banned? Because he was very adamant throughout the entire offseason when we had him on for the weekly tush push update. He was adamant that it should not be banned because he would say, I don't believe a play that just can't be stopped should be banned. That's a bad look for the NFL, and it's a bad look for owners and coaches and GMs that are just saying, we can't stop it, so we want it banned. I just wonder, has his tone changed where a lot of people were very vocal about it yesterday? Unfortunately, I'm glad we played the Dan Orlovsky audio about the predictability of the Eagles offense, even though it scared the hell out of me hearing it. I'm glad that it was something about the game and not about a play that averages 1 yard, because that's what most of the national talking points was yesterday, was about the tush push. I wonder if guys like Adam Schefter changed their opinion after how it played out on Sunday. And the thing that I think a lot of people were pointing out, there's a lot of people that think there's the inner workings of the media and that the NFL is trying to push something, and that the recent push is how difficult it is to officiate it.
Okay.
Dean Blandino saying on the national stage on America's Game of the Week, where I imagine there's a lot of eyeballs on Eagles-Chiefs, the rematch of the Super Bowl, unless their favorite team was playing at the same time. Dean Blandino saying, I'm done with the tush push because of how difficult it is to defend it or to officiate it.
And then what did you just get from Adam?
He said the same thing.
And by the way, on 7 of the tush pushes yesterday, as researched by Pro Football Focus and more, twice the Chiefs were offside. On 7 of them, twice the Chiefs were offside. On 3, it looks like the Eagles were. So where's the talking point of they are offsides every time? And that is a quote from Adam Schefter. Yeah, the Eagles are offside. They're offsides every time. No, they're not, Adam. So when you say we have to be fair, what we have to be tomorrow with Adam is respectful.
Yeah, and we will ask him about those statements.
Adam was not fair. He's wrong on what swung the game. His entire premise of the game was lost because of the tush push is absolutely ridiculous. It's a ridiculous premise of that game. But more importantly, it's not fair when you say, like, the Eagles are offsides every time. In fact, they were not.
The reason why I brought up the fairness was the amount of tweets I got yesterday saying Schefter wants it banned now.
I think
and
he's
a mouthpiece for the NFL.
Well, I absolutely understand every single one of those people because his tone that he proclaimed on our show every single week has completely shifted. It's 180. He never, ever said anything about, we never heard any talking points about the Eagles being offsides every time. By the way, I'm quoting, every time they're offsides every time. No, they're not. That's a ridiculous assertion. So you're using falsehoods to try to make a point, which I immediately will call out because that's not fair. That's not legitimate debate and conversation. And more importantly, where's this coming from? Oh, could it be coming from your partner? The NFL? Could it be coming from Roger Goodell? Could it be coming from who signs the big paycheck? Now, who is now part owner of ESPN? Anybody who has that question has the right to ask it.
Yeah, and
they all have the right to ask it.
We'll ask him that. What I will say is, in that game against the Chiefs, that play looked incredibly difficult to officiate. I think that
it did. Oh, it did.
I think that comes from the officiating being subpar on Sunday.
And by the way,
and that could be that's a great line of question.
I think the refs
both sides. Like the Chiefs were in the neutral zone multiple times.
Well,
they got flagged for it one time.
They got flagged once, and they were in it a second time that they didn't get flagged.
Yeah.
The Eagles were legitimately, if you're going by the letter of the law, they were in 3 times from the overhead cam of the 7 opportunities.
Yeah.
So that means 5 times. Like 5. No. It's not 5 times because 4 of the times, because one of the times the Eagles were and the Chiefs were. So as Connor says, the officiating was crap on Sunday.
And there was the one slow-mo where both guards
they fired.
We're off.
They fired. Yeah. But by the way, could we talk about the fact too? What I ask Adam is, and I'll ask Adam tomorrow, is Adam, the touchdown was scored on the play before it.
It was.
And they reviewed it. And Tom Brady showed it on national television. The ball is clearly a third of a football breaking the plane, and they reviewed it, and they didn't call it a touchdown. So that play where the guys fired that everybody is clutching their pearls about on Monday morning never even should have been run because the Eagles should have had a touchdown on the play before. I mean, I do not believe that was fair discussion yesterday, and I'll go on the record, I was a little disappointed in Adam yesterday. And
I was just disappointed how much the tone changed.
I was very disappointed.
And I will ask him about it.
I'm disappointed when people use false points to make arguments, because make your argument and have it respectfully, and we'll have a respectful discussion with Adam. We always do.
Yeah.
And he's always game for it. But to me,
that was walking into.
That was not.
He saw the amount of tweets he got.
That was false. That was false premise yesterday. That was false premise theater yesterday. And I'm surprised he engaged in it.
I just wonder if his beliefs have changed, because it sounds like it did. When all offseason, and I will remind him, all offseason, every single week when he came on the show, it was, I don't think it's right to ban a play that people can't stop. But the question that a lot of people have right now is, all right, well, if it's difficult for the officials, and the officials, to
Connor's point too,
maybe need to be the reason why it gets changed.
Do you think he backtracks tomorrow on air with us?
I don't know.
Gut instinct from our text line, 610-632-0975. Do you believe Adam backtracks tomorrow?
Here's what I think he'll say. I think he will say, well, John, I never said that I want it to be banned. I'm just telling you that I think it's difficult to officiate. That's what will be the answer.
And I'm going to say, so your opinion is the game was lost because of that? Did you? And I'm going to ask him, did you watch the game? Did you watch the game? Because nobody who watched that game would have that opinion.
Now, by the way,
nobody would have that opinion watching that game.
Speaking of watching the game, not many people probably did the Chargers-Raiders game last night because it was going up against Phillies-Dodgers.
Sure.
The Chargers were on their own, I think it was 2-yard line last night, and they ran the tush push. But right before the play was run, the officials made the offensive lineman, back up a little bit. Because you see it, when the Eagles O-line, they bunch together. I wonder if there was a quick video study Sunday into Monday for the NFL officials saying, hey, if there's a tush push, you just have to make sure it's lined up a specific way. Because go find it's online. They had to readjust the Chargers' offensive line. Now, look, they still ran it and still got 2 yards on it because all they wanted to do was get out of the goal line situation. They still got a 2-yard gain on it. So there might be some moment this Sunday for the Eagles where the officials blow a whistle before the play is run and kind of make them readjust.
Right.
And then still run it. And we'll see the effectiveness of it. But 24 hours from now.
And I think they'll still be the most effective quarterback sneak team in the NFL, too.
Yeah, because Jalen Hurts is a freaking beast. All right, coming up
and
next.
And the offensive line.
Coming up next, we do our second opinion segment. Some more thoughts from the Eagles-Chiefs game. And again, we will continue to celebrate the Phillies NL East crown. You'll hear how it sounded at the end yesterday. Coming up next, it's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Attention, Delaware Valley. 97.5 The Fanatic's Unfiltered with Ricky Bowe.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Brought to us by who?
Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit lundylaw.com. That's lundylaw.com.
All right, real quick before we do this segment. J.J. McCarthy is going to be expected to be sidelined for 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain.
So back for the Birds then.
Maybe. If it's 4 weeks, he would miss the Eagles game, which would mean.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's fantastic.
Oh, no.
It would mean.
No, it's fantastic.
Hurts v. Wentz.
No, that would be one of the best weeks of our lives. No,
it could be.
No, 4 weeks would be 4 weeks. If he's 2 to 4 weeks, then he'd be back for the Eagles game.
I want J.J. McCarthy to be healthy from a human element.
So do I.
I will tell you right now, from a theater element, I need it.
Dude.
I need Hurts v. Wentz so bad, dude. I need it.
Dude, I want this defense playing J.J. McCarthy, where he has no other game action between now and then, because there's 3 games between now and then and a bye week. I want J.J. McCarthy coming back off that injury against the Eagles. This defense, oh, please.
Oh,
please.
yeah, I got you.
I want to see that. No, you can have, because Carson Wentz could potentially do more drama, could do more damage and drama, could do more damage. I want JJ. They would confuse, Vic Fangio would have him so confused, he'd be back to his remedial math class at Michigan.
Yeah, the last vibe change I need for this season is Carson Wentz beating this team.
I know. Yeah, I don't expect it to. I want
you to take it back.
I wanted Eagles Commanders.
I want you to take it back right now. The Carson Wentz thing. Take it back.
Why?
I want this team to face J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. I want them to face that. He's not ready. He's not ready for this defense.
I'll say this. I don't care who they play. They're going to win. How about that? All right.
Connor, if they face Wentz now, he's to blame.
Time now for the second opinion segment.
You might not always agree with what you hear. Sometimes you need a second opinion. Brought to you by the consultants in medical oncology and hematology.
All right, tell us about them, Johnny.
What do you need to know? I'm here doing a show with you. I could have been dead. They saved my life. There's nothing better I can say about them. Dr. Sprandio and the entire team that he created there, they are awesome. Check them out, cmoh.org. If anyone in your life gets a cancer diagnosis, they're the best, and I love those folks.
All right. Second opinion. I mentioned it yesterday, and I asked our man Andrew Pacheco about it, and he does believe it played a factor. Now, look, the coordinator speak today, so we'll see if Kevin Patullo is asked about it and if he gives a real answer about it or not. I wonder how much the absence of Dallas Goedert plays a factor into the subpar ground game, because Saquon Barkley had to literally fight for every single yard on Sunday, and sort of the stuff over the middle of the field. Now, they did do the slant route to A.J. Brown, but as Dan Orlovsky pointed out, it seemed predictable because it's about the same route. I wonder how much the Dallas Goedert absence, especially after what we saw week 1, the 7 catches, that connection that Hurts and Goddard had, that a connection that we saw in the postseason last year from Hurts to Goddard. That security blanket wasn't there, and it's not like he targeted Grant Calcaterra, and it's not like he targeted Kyle Granson. So that's just an observation, a thought. We'll see what Kevin Patullo says today. What do you got, Johnny?
I'm interested in Chris Shula this week. I'm going to be watching closely. Chris Shula, grandson of Don Shula, the defensive coordinator of the Rams, because I'm going to be interested to see what he watches from that game tape, from the first 2 game tapes. I watched what the Cowboys defense did to confuse this Eagles offense. Somehow, Russell Wilson and the Giants just throw it all over the field on the Cowboys, like hot knife through butter, and the Eagles couldn't move the ball. And then I watched last week and just see the lack of creativity versus a Rams defense. Chris Shula, a much younger guy, but a guy who believes in pressure. So there's going to be pressure this week. But one thing he hasn't been able to do is come up with a run defense. They think that they've gotten that fixed. Looking at the tape, when I look at the second opinion, this better be a week the run game gets off. Because last year, it was their 2 biggest running games of the year.
Yeah, against the Rams. All right, what do you got, Connor?
The defense has been really darn good this year, right? But there's a certain bald eagle that has been a little bit quieter than I expected him to be. Have you guys noticed that there hasn't been much Zach Vaughn mention in either of the first 2 games?
Well, he had the huge tackle on Miles Sanders in week 1.
Big time, yes.
He was in coverage a couple of times against Travis Kelce. I saw him get to Mahomes.
But it's been quiet. But
quiet's sometimes a good thing.
Connor, do you consider that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's too early for me to tell. When you give him that contract, and he had the year he had last year, and the question coming into this year is how does he follow up that outstanding season where every game it felt like 15 tackles and all of them were impact. It feels like we have heard less of Zach Bond through the first 2 weeks than I expected. The defense is fine.
Yeah, but what did you expect? Like
I don't
8
know.
sacks?
Listen, no, not 8 sacks, but I feel
6 tackles week 1, 5 tackles yesterday.
Yeah.
Or this past Sunday.
That feels a little light to me. And I'm not saying he's being bad. I'm saying you paid him like a big-time linebacker. And I'd be interested to see how much more he becomes a focal point of the defense.
Yeah, that big-time linebacker, the middle linebacker of this football team, has helped lead a charge where they've held a Cowboys team to 20 points and a Chiefs team to 17.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's been bad. But the expectation, he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate last year.
Sure.
And through 2 weeks,
It's been quiet.
I've just wondered, are we getting more out of him maybe against the Rams or more later this season?
That's a great Thursday DeCecco deep dive on that one, and I guarantee you he will already have looked at it.
I'm sure
that's a
he
good
has.
one though, Connor. That's a really that's a good
the
one.
Second opinion. It's questions, it's observations, it's thoughts.
And you know what we got too coming up after the Bucks game.
What we got?
Well, then you have a linebacker coming back.
Yeah.
And that linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
And the linebacking room.
He's not going to play much.
It's like Eagles fan dream.
He's not going to play much because you're not sitting Jahad Campbell at this point.
The way he's playing.
Respectfully to Nakobe Dean. By the way, real quick, rest in peace, Robert Redford.
Robert Redford died?
Yeah, he passed away this morning. So Roy Hobbs, The Natural, all the President's Men, one of the greatest movies that I love that movie, and many, many others. Robert Redford passed away this morning at the age of 89. Coming up next, Phillies' chances of earning the 1 seed are still alive. So this is what we're going to do coming up next. We're going to look at both paths to the World Series as the 2 seed, like they are now, and the what-if scenario of the top seed. We'll look at those next as we celebrate the National League East Championship crown from last night's victory over the Dodgers in L.A. here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Another division title. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies are officially NL East champions for the second straight season. They took down the Dodgers in 10 innings last night, 6-5 the final score, locking up the NL East crown. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, and Bryce Harper all had big-time homers in the game, and David Robertson got himself into a little bit of a jam in the 10th inning, but as you can hear on NBC Sports Philadelphia with the call, found his way out of it.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
The next goal up for the Phillies is probably try not to be too hungover for tonight's game against the Dodgers after that clubhouse celebration, but they're also going to try and lock down a first-round bye. They have a 5.5 game lead over L.A. for the 2 seed. Game 2 is at 10:10 p.m. Christopher Sanchez faces Shohei Ohtani. Eagles are prepared for their matchup with the 2-0 Rams on Sunday. Their coordinators will meet with media at 11:30, so we'll be hearing from Kevin Patullo on that offensive performance, or maybe lack thereof, on Sunday. Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Anthony Sanfilippo joins us at 9:25. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And, again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jihad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Championship Tuesday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Phillies take care of business last night and were able to celebrate beating the Dodgers 6-5 in extra innings. The sac fly by JT Realmuto in the 9th after the great double steal of Harrison Bader and Bryce Harper sets up the 6-5 lead. David Robertson goes into the bottom of the 10th inning and dances his way out of it. Obviously, the ghost runner starts on second. He puts a runner on base via walk. Another runner gets on via walk. But he gets out of it, gets 2 outs, and the Phillies win the ball game, and then they were able to celebrate on the field, celebrate inside the clubhouse, and we'll see if there's a hangover game tonight. John keeps on saying Christopher Sanchez,
I'm not thinking Christopher's the one that's going to have the big hangover, though. So to me, if you're at least you got the starting pitcher, I don't think is going to be loaded.
Right. I remember in 22 when they won. That was the incredible Ranger Suarez dancing moment.
Well, Ranger,
and
I'm
then
glad
he
Ranger
pitched the next day.
No, Ranger knew he pitched last night.
Yeah.
Ranger looked highly glossed over by the end of the celebration last night.
Yeah, he partied.
Good
man.
for him. Good for him. Well, he's done.
Guy is drunk.
He's
but
done.
There he goes.
It was great.
And he pitched well. And it was, again, Dodger Stadium against that lineup. Good for the Phillies. Now, here's the deal. What I want to do is I want to look at the paths to the World Series. And I say paths because I still believe that they could win the 1 seed. The
Look,
Brewers
there's two paths, right?
Yeah.
There's two paths.
Out of
that
1 seed or 2
probably
seed. They're not going to fall out of the 2 seed.
No, it doesn't look that way.
So the fact that the Phillies are 90-61 and the Brewers are 91-59, they were off yesterday. They begin their 3-game series with the Angels tonight. So they're both playing LA teams. The LA Angels are in Milwaukee, however. The Phillies do still have a chance, but we'll start with the more likely or the current status, and that is the Phillies as the 2 seed. And we're going to look at this as it is shaped up right now, because I can't predict that the Mets are going to fall out and the Diamondbacks will make the playoffs or the Reds will make the playoffs or the Giants will make the playoffs, because as it stands right now in the National League, Brewers, Phillies, Dodgers, your division leaders, Cubs the top wild card team, Padres the second wild card team, but they are just 2 back of the Dodgers for the division.
Assume the Mets.
And the Mets are the third wild card team.
They're up by 2.
D-backs are a game and a half back unless there's a...
No, they're 2. No, it's the... Right now, it's the... Isn't it the...
D-backs are a game and a half back. Reds and Giants 2 back.
They're 2 back. Okay, so they're 2.
So there is a chance that the Mets don't make the playoffs, but we're going to do this based off of how it looks today.
And by the way, that plays to the Phillies this weekend as they play the Diamondbacks.
Sure. So the Phillies, right now 2 seed, would play the winner of the Dodgers and Mets series. Now, as much as the Mets are my boogeyman, I don't see the Dodgers losing that series.
No.
I just don't. And so that would start an NLDS of Phillies and Dodgers. And my God, if it's like last night, get ready. Get your popcorn ready. Get, whatever it is, beer or any sort of mechanism that helps calm your emotions and your stress levels.
Okay, well, here's what I would say to both of you, and I need this answer if we're doing this exercise. How game do you think the Mets are to give the Dodgers a run? Are we talking Dodgers in 4? Dodgers in 5?
It's a wild card series, so 3 games.
Are you saying Dodgers? Are you saying Dodgers in 3? Dodgers in 2? Because that does matter.
I think it's a 2-game sweep.
So you think it's a 2-game sweep?
Yeah. The only thing is like how McLean, like the Dodgers, the starting pitching is just the thing that's kind of scary for the Dodgers. Now they just have to win 2 games, so they can go Yamamoto and they can go Snell or whoever they want to go with.
Okay, because this matters. Because whoever is the Game 1 starter for the wild card would not be able to be the Game 1 starter unless they were on short rest for the NLDS Game
right.
1. So that's the danger of them having to play in the wild card series.
Sure.
So that's why I'm saying. But if they had to play a Game 3, then that pushes even more of their pitching staff. It stresses more of their pitching staff. I'm interested to see how that all plays out.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to do. And this is not this is the whole pick your poison and is that bad karma. Take care of the Dodgers in this series. And then maybe the Diamondbacks happen to take 2 of 3 from you and catch up to the Mets a little bit more, setting up a divisional matchup in that wild card series for the Dodgers that I think will be tougher for them.
So you think a divisional series is tougher?
Yes, the familiarity there between the Diamondbacks and Dodgers I would much rather see than the Mets who are potentially backing their way.
There's still a chance that the Padres could win that division.
That's true.
And remember then that the Diamondbacks could then be the Phillies' problem, and the Phillies who don't play well in Arizona.
I don't want that. Oh, my God.
So think about, Connor, think about what you're wishing here. The Phillies who had problems playing in Arizona.
Right. Now, look.
Do you want to bring back that boogeyman?
I'll tell you, without Eugenio Suarez there and what they did at the trade deadline, I'd rather play the Diamondbacks a billion times than the Mets or the Dodgers.
What Corbin Carroll is doing right now. That team was dead. That team was dead.
They were dead in the water.
And then all of a sudden he comes back from his injury, and they have turned their season around. Hot team, always scary.
I'd be a little scared of that happening.
Now, again, we're doing this based off of how it looks right now.
Right,
so
exactly.
If the Phillies were able to jump the Brewers would then be the 2 seed playing the winner of the Dodgers and the Mets, and the Phillies would play, as it stands today, the winner of the Cubs and Padres. The Cubs, the higher seed, so the 3-game series would be in Chicago. I would much rather the Cubs than the Padres, as you guys know how I've felt about this Padres team. Would it be great theater to have a little rematch of the NLCS from 2022 in the NLDS between the Phillies and Padres? Yeah, that would be fun. But I'm about winning the World Series and not fun, because that is fun. Winning the World Series is fun itself, not matchups,
The
right?
the Padres in 5 scares me more than the Padres in 7.
I think that's a fair thing to say.
But Padres don't scare me.
You have the feeling of the Padres the way I have the feeling of the Brewers.
Cubs scare me more than the Padres.
Really?
Yeah. I would
They
not.
don't have the pitching.
I
at
don't.
all.
Yeah, but I don't want to go to Wrigley. You lose one of the first 2 at home, and you go to Wrigley, and Wrigley's
if they do lose one of them.
no. Well, it's look home field advantage. Everyone talks about home field advantage has not exactly been when the Phillies needed it the most. Has not exactly been there. We hope it is this year.
Are they the best team at home in Major League Baseball this year?
Who, the Phils?
Yes.
Yeah, they've been really great. Last year they were too, and it didn't mean anything. They went out and lost to the Mets and wet their pants, and should have lost both games at home. So it doesn't.
Look, I'm just saying, I'm taking Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo over Boyd, Imanga, and Cade Horton.
Yeah,
I just am.
Easily.
And oh, by the way, same scenario plays out where Matthew Boyd may not be available until game 3.
No, he wouldn't be able. No, he wouldn't be. Whoever starts game 1 of the wild card cannot start game 1 of the NLDS.
Right. So who knows? If there was a team
That's
that
I'm telling you, the Cubs are the Cubs are the 3rd best team in the National League.
I know they
and
are.
The Cubs are just
because all the talk is the Brewers
playing along.
The
and
3rd
just
best
letting
team
it go.
outside the Phillies, if you're not counting them, right? You're not putting them over the
Brewers are the 1.
Yeah, the
Phillies are the 2. Cubs are the 3.
No shot. Not a chance that team's better than the Dodgers.
Well, they've been better than them we've played 150 some
Look,
games.
if you were to ask me
They've
right
been
now,
better.
who would you rather play, Cubs, Dodgers? I'm taking the Cubs.
Oh, no, I would rather play the Cubs than the Dodgers, no question.
No, but they've had a
the
good
Cubs have been
season.
the better team than the Dodgers. And the Brewers have been the distinctly better team than the
Cubs have really had one bad stretch, and it was when the Brewers won 87 games in a row, and that's why they're behind them in the division.
You bring that, it's the truth.
It's crazy. Like, that was the worst time to go in a slump, was when the Brewers just started winning literally every game imaginable. But that's where it is right now. If the Phillies are the 2 seed, they play the winner of the Dodgers and the Mets. If the Phillies are the 1 seed, which is still a possibility, they play the winner of the Cubs and the Padres. Now, look, this is how it stands today. Mets might not even make the playoffs. The Padres could win the National League West. This next 2 weeks, it may not seem like that much excitement for the Phillies anymore because they crowned the NL East last night. There's still the chance of the 1 seed. But if you're a fan of baseball and you're a fan of seeding,
it's awesome.
There is so much going on in the National League right now where the teams that are in the playoffs right now might not be, or the teams that are in the division lead right now might not be.
Fun to watch.
Coming up next, throughout the season, we've all thought about the rotation come playoff time. Who starts game 1? Who starts game 2? Who makes the roster? Who doesn't? We haven't really talked that much about the bullpen rotation. We'll do that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm Connor Thomas, and we're officially on to Week 3 of the NFL schedule. The Birds sitting at 2-0. They're one of 10 teams left undefeated in the NFL, so a third of the league at that 2-0 record. And the Eagles are facing another 2-0 team in the Los Angeles Rams this Sunday, 1 p.m. at Lincoln Financial Field, a big game. Now, the big question with the Eagles after their matchup with the Chiefs is the quality of the offense. Kevin Patullo's unit has not looked exceptional to start the season. We're going to hear from the coordinators, including Kevin Patullo, at 11:30 today. So we'll get some information from him on what he saw Sunday. But Dan Orlovsky talked recently about the predictability of the Eagles' offense so far.
Yeah, the pass game right now feels very predictable, and that's very specific to A.J. Brown. 10 times yesterday, 10. They had A.J. Brown basically line up at the same spot and run essentially the same route.
And it doesn't take Dan Orlovsky to necessarily break that down for you. We all saw it so far through the first 2 games. Explosive plays have not really been there. Nick Sirianni talked about that.
It's always about the daily process and the weekly process to go about doing that. And so, we got to do our jobs as coaches to help put them in positions for that. And then we have to execute when we have those opportunities.
We'll see if the Eagles' offense is more explosive in Week 3. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts.
When you have a level of mental toughness to yourself and you're able to
When you've seen the first two games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he sort of grasps things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Today, all day here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, the Fanatic. Phillies did it last night in L.A., beating the Dodgers in extra innings, 6-5. We're going to have a bullpen discussion here momentarily, but real quick, I saw something just tweeted, well, not tweeted just now, but it was last night from the official NFL Twitter account.
Okay.
Do you know that Dicker the kicker, Cameron Dicker,
yes,
is now the most accurate kicker in NFL history?
Wow.
Highest career field goal percentage with a minimum of 100 attempts.
And we had him.
His percentage is 94%. Now, look, Jake's Jake.
Jake's great.
And so far this season,
he's been fantastic.
We're back to seeing old Jake. And the playoffs, he was tremendous. So you weren't going to keep Cameron Dicker over Jake Elliott. But it's amazing. This guy, this kid, comes in quickly when Jake Elliott's out, wins NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, gets picked up by the Chargers, wins AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. I think it was first time or one of the few times in NFL history where a guy won
that
Player
ever
of the
happened,
Week
right.
in both conferences in the same season. And he's just doing his thing with the Chargers.
Do you ever have either one of you seen his rise to social media fame too?
No, I did not.
He has become a.
That'll pop up in my algorithm.
He has become sort of a social media darling too for the Chargers.
Okay.
And out in L.A. He's become really marketable out in L.A. Does a lot of stuff. In fact, when I was out in L.A. I saw him on like 2 different things.
Are you serious?
Yes. He's
That's
in fact,
awesome.
when you're waiting they have a great Uber lot, like where you go for Ubers or Lyfts.
Sure.
At LAX, they have a really good setup there where you just go and you can pick up your spot. You just go to your number and get picked up, and they have a big Dicker the Kicker billboard.
That's awesome.
Huge.
That's awesome.
Dicker the Kicker billboard. And I'm going, oh my gosh, the kicker, the Chargers.
How about that?
Gets a gigantic billboard.
Hasn't been much else to be excited for recently, but another win for them last night. They're 2-0 to start the season. All right, Phillies bullpen. Now, I'm not asking you, all right, it's the 7th inning. It's a 1-run ball game. Here's the order.
What are you, Matt Nahagian?
Hurry.
That's a throwback.
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Love Matt Nahagian.
Yes, Matt.
Give me your order of confidence with the guys in the bullpen. So, we're all agreeing.
Let's just say Duran's number one.
Yeah, despite last night.
And we're not worried about last night.
Duran is number one, and there's no other question. Now, this is when it gets interesting because
Number one confidence to do what? You're not saying to pitch the 8th inning. You're saying confidence to come out and give you a good outing.
You see him coming out of the bullpen, and you're going, all right, let's go. Clean inning.
Right now? This morning?
Yes.
It's Robertson.
All right. And it's amazing because he drives me nuts, but he gets out of it. So, like.
Wow.
Well, again, last night.
Okay, but I'm going to hear your next names and tell me they don't drive you more nuts.
This is why I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Strom is the same. David Robertson and Matt Strom are the same person to me. One just throws left-handed, one throws right-handed. They get into jams. A lot of the times they get out of it, and that's great.
Robertson gets out of it more than Strom.
Yeah, I mean, Strom's been pretty good the last month. But, again, they're very similar to me, and I think Strom's benefited from more arms in the bullpen. I think he benefited for a very short time being when Alvarado came back so that he didn't have to pitch as much, and I think maybe the fatigue is not as much there. So you have Robertson, Strom, and I'm not giving an order. I'm just giving the names. Orion Kerkering, Tanner Banks. Am I missing anybody? And
as far as would be on your confidence list?
Yeah, we're not talking Lazar. We're not talking, any of these other guys.
Tim Meza.
No, you're not talking
I'm not even talking
on
Tim
your
Meza.
confidence list.
I'm talking about the guys that are going to pitch in the bullpen in innings 6 through 9, right? Like,
first of all,
not a mop-up.
That's incredibly thin what you just
It is, and that's why I'm asking this question. Like, so much has been focused on, all right, what starting pitcher gets moved to the bullpen? This was when we thought, obviously when Wheeler was still healthy. Depending on the matchups.
I would say,
is one of the lefties going to the pen or is one of the righties going to the pen?
I would say begrudgingly, it would be Duran, Robertson, Strom, Kerkering. Confidence.
Yeah, but then you have Banks, who's been consistent.
I know that, but
all
Banks,
year
he has been,
and I know he doesn't throw gas.
That's why I'm not. Yeah, but high leverage situations you're talking about postseason. You told me.
Yep.
That's why I'm taking that into consideration. I still want him down.
So you still have Kerkering at 3.
No,
4.
Sorry,
Strom's
3.
Where are you at with this, Con?
Same exact list.
All right.
So you go Strom. Oh, by the way, was Strom Kerkering a difficult decision for you?
No, not really.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
I like Strom a lot more than you guys like Strom.
Well,
you do.
And the funny thing is
I'm not saying Strom stinks. He just drives me nuts.
I don't like Strom that much, but it still wasn't that difficult a decision to put him ahead of Kerkering right now.
All-star last year. The guy's been pretty darn good pretty much his whole time here in Philly.
Yeah.
The optics of who Matt Strom is as a reliever might not be modern baseball.
That's what freaks me out. He's not throwing like electric heat, and he gets guys get on base. I looked it up this morning. I think even though he's been pitching well in terms of not allowing runs, I think like 6 of his last 7 outings, a base runner has gotten on base. He's usually pitching in high leverage situations, so it's like
4 of the last 9, Kerkering's given up an earned run.
Well, yeah, and that's why.
And to me, it's like,
I asked
okay,
this question.
So it's which, by the way, it's been an earned run. It's not been blow up across the game. He does have a blown save in there, obviously, from last night.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's one that to me that's been Kerkering has not been terrible. It's been earned run given up in 4 of the last 9.
Well, now he's been terrible when he inherits runners.
Yes, which you can't get. You got to give him a clean inning. There's just things. He's very. You know what he is? He's a very finicky eater. Is how I'd put Orion Kerkering.
Okay.
Yeah, everything has to be perfect for him. Like his food can't touch. He's got to have everything's got to be perfect for Ryan Kerkering.
But you can do that in the postseason.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can. Sometimes you face really weird situations in the postseason.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you guys saying that's thin, though. Think about the days off. You can pretty much throw those guys every game.
Yeah.
And you got 5 usable postseason arms out of that bullpen with a starting rotation, even without Wheeler, that has the most innings for starters of any team in baseball.
Yeah, look, here's the deal. Bottom line, it's going to be the same. Even though you have Duran now, and what Robertson has done has been great since you acquired him, it's still the same story. You need these pitchers to go 6-7 innings minimum. Like, every single night in the playoffs, at least the top 3. The Sanchez, the Suarez, and Luzardos. Nola, if he's the guy, or if Walker Buehler is the guy, or if Taijuan Walker is the guy, you're going to say, hey, give us, like, solid 4 innings. Like you did with Noah Syndergaard back in 2022, like you tried to do with Bailey Falter. Like, just get us through the first time through the order and maybe another inning, and then we're turning to the bullpen. It's a bullpen game. But it still stands true that those top 3 guys, they need to eat. They have to, because that's what it's going to fall on when it comes to this team. All right, coming up next, as we continue to celebrate the National League East champions, we have a third member of the show to celebrate as she's wearing her Ring the Bell T-shirt.
And she doesn't look nearly as tired as I feel. Well, maybe Amy just knows how to just rejuvenate well. Maybe she's got one of those hyperbaric chambers.
Maybe. We can ask her about it. She joins us coming up next as we talk about the Philadelphia Phillies, the National League East champions, here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Phils take the East. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Philadelphia Phillies are officially National League East champions for the 2nd straight season. They took down the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings to lock up the division crown earlier this morning. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, and Bryce Harper all had big home runs in the game. David Robertson, they got into a little bit of a jam there in the bottom of the 10th, but as you heard on NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the 2nd consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
So Red October confirmed. Division champs confirmed. What's next up for the Phillies? Well, it's trying to lock down a first-round bye. They have 5.5-game lead over the LA Dodgers for the 2 seed in the National League. Game 2 with those Dodgers is tonight at 10:10. Christopher Sanchez faces Shohei Ohtani. The Eagles are starting to prepare for their matchup with the 2-0 Rams, which they'll have on Sunday. Eagles coordinators meet with media at 11:30. We'll hear from Kevin Patullo and an explanation of the offensive performance on Sunday. So that will be intriguing. Amy Fadul joins us coming up next. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Football is back. Get ready for the season at Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo, Bill Collar.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew Makuba.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew Makuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Now for the remainder of the show, the great Amy Fadul joins us. Amy, good morning. Happy National League East Championship.
Back to back.
It was wonderful. You said something during the commercial break. Hubby didn't get home till what time?
Just before 4.
Oh my gosh.
3:53, I think.
So when our alarms were going off
Yes,
was when
exactly.
he was strolling into the door.
So for those who don't know, he's the producer of the post game, pre and post game. So they obviously an extended post game, celebratory.
Yeah.
And then we have to do. He has to stay and do some stuff for the overnight shows, and then he is on the podcast for the Phillies Talk podcast. So they did a podcast,
and that's not something you can necessarily prepare for. You can say, "Hey, if they win today, I'm going to be coming home late."
Exactly. So
but you don't know that until you know it.
It was very strict of like very quiet in the morning. Everyone, let's just try to be as quiet as possible and get out the door.
But the good news is that all is now out of the way.
I mean, he's still
yes, he's still going to work the Dodgers series.
Correct.
But the extra stuff is out of the way now for the Dodgers series.
Yes.
Instead of having to go prepare for it last night, doesn't happen. Prepare for it tonight, doesn't happen.
Yeah, because they were obviously the buildup was starting on Sunday for all of us.
It works
for
great.
all of us. It would have been nice to do it on Sunday, but as I just told you guys during the break, I stayed up entirely too late watching celebration stuff.
Well, because
it was
a nice
in.
day, and I'm glad you celebrated. Our question today, and have a text message, Connor, ready. My question for the people today is, regardless of your opinion, obviously if you've been high on the Phillies, like John said, no fear, no nothing.
None.
You're celebrating yesterday like it was another day. But for the people like me that were down on this team, and for the people that are even worse than me that are like, I'm not even watching till they're the Sixers.
Wake me up in October.
Yeah.
They were on my feed 2 weeks ago.
Did they enjoy last night?
I hope so. You should be able to savor that.
Yeah, I mean that's back-to-back NL East
You know how
champions.
hard that is to do?
We don't get to say that often.
We're
unbelievable.
Not, yeah, this is. I mean, it's not. It's the largest division lead they've had since 2011. It's back-to-back champs. This is not something that happens here. Celebrate away, enjoy it as much as you want, and what a game it was!
It was an incredible game.
Like it wasn't just some like ho hum. The bets were off, so you knew it was like you had to win, which made it a little bit more exciting. But what a game! They fought. They played well. They stutter step. I saw you and we were on Twitter like Kirk, like, come on, man! You couldn't serve up a meatball to that guy, not to Mookie Betts. But then they were resilient and came right back. So
they
what
fought.
a game!
What a game! They fought. They kept getting up.
And it was a playoff-like game in terms of the decisions being made. Like David Roberts with the last-second change of who's starting the opener. Rob Thompson
get that. I didn't
cycling
get that
guys
little
in.
like he thought he was playing. Thought he was playing some psychological games.
I understood it. You wanted the left-handed pitcher.
I know why he did it.
But what he doesn't realize is that Kyle Schwarber, which by the way, I don't know if you guys realize this.
You see this?
I saw this from Anthony Sanfilippo, who we're going to be speaking to in the 9 o'clock hour. Schwarber's 22nd home run, left-handed hitter against a left-handed pitcher. Do you know that ties Major League record?
It's a record.
Matt Olson and Stan Musial.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, the list, he's above Barry Bonds. I mean, it's an impressive list.
So if he hits one more home run against a left-handed pitcher, he will have the most home runs for a left-handed hitter against left-handed pitching.
Now, I had some friends in the building
in
last
season,
night,
obviously.
Dodger fans, and they were telling me that they couldn't get over – they don't want to play the Phillies in the postseason because they said the atmosphere they thought was dead last night.
Oh, really?
In the building.
Yeah, I feel like that's
they think it was dead.
That's a fan base that kind of like they really are wake me up in October.
And they were anxious last night. They say the Phillies obviously make the Dodger fans anxious.
Well, yeah.
It's like
Jonathan Broxton still has like nightmares.
The entire season, really, even when the Phillies were on their swoon, they played the Dodgers well. Even when they were not playing well, they played the Dodgers well. That was the one team I remember being on with Andrew like a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that was like the only team I was like, I feel like actually pretty good about them. Padres maybe not so much. Obviously the Mets in Citi Field we didn't really like, but no. And then also you should enjoy it from listening to the guys talk last night, listening to Rob Thompson talk last night.
I have the quote in front of me. It's amazing you said that.
It was just, if you can't enjoy that and see how much they enjoyed it, and they weren't like puffing their chests out like we're the big. They were like, this is awesome. We have gone through a lot of adversity, and you should really enjoy this.
Rob Thompson, as the bottles were being popped yesterday, the last 4 years has been the most fun I've had in baseball, in my 40 years in baseball, and I can tell you that truthfully. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities.
Time now for the Kincade Salciunas Re-Rack.
Night one in L.A., they go out there, they win 6-5 in what was a playoff-like atmosphere, a back-and-forth game. Here's how it sounded at the end, courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions. They win it in extra innings. They knock off the Dodgers by a final score of 6-5. It is their 13th National League East title.
13th National League East title. Back-to-back years.
Which is paltry.
It's very, very, very low, but they get the win yesterday. They are National League East champs, and now we start really focusing on the road to the Red October and hopefully a long October for us here in the city of Philadelphia. Johnny, good morning and a happy National League East Champion Celebration Day.
I can only say I've never felt better to get like 2 hours, 45 minutes sleep. Connor and I last traded a text, I think, at 1:17 in the morning, looking at my phone. And I feel very awake this morning. I did stop and get a
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
I stopped and got a sugar-free Red Bull just to wake myself up a little bit. It feels beautiful. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome to watch that game, to see it come to fruition, and to see this team now move on to the next phase. Lock up the bye week. Then, potentially, lock up a 1 seed. It would be great if that could happen.
It's a dream,
it was amazing.
but there is still a chance.
Are we taking credit? Are we taking credit for this, by the way?
For what?
Since the creation of Kincade and Salciunas, there are consecutive division championships for the Phillies and a Super Bowl for the Eagles.
I would say that
I'm
a lot
just
of
saying
these
there's been a
successes
lot of
because
winning.
of us.
I'd
I would say
so
a lot
too.
of it is because of
I'd
us.
say let's take the credit, but no, give the credit to Dave Dombrowski, the fantastic Philadelphia Phillies roster, which, by the way, using every player on the roster, including last night, like the Ottoman Empire, as Connor loves so much, like the fact that Weston Wilson comes through, dub, as our man Bill Colarulo loves to state it, and the fact that, too, the manager, Rob Thompson, last night was really, really good.
And that's why it felt like a playoff game yesterday, the back and forth. And I know it's stressful for us in Philadelphia. I imagine it was stressful for people in Los Angeles. But every state in between, between California and Pennsylvania and obviously fans in New Jersey, it was probably just great to watch that kind of baseball play out. And so the Phillies win 6-5 yesterday. And you mentioned it. They basically pulled every single stop yesterday. Obviously, you have Trey Turner out right now with the injury. Alec Boehm is banged up. So you're playing guys like Otto Kemp. You're playing guys like Weston Wilson because you have to move guys all over the field. But also the way Rob Thompson managed it during the game, having guys pinch hit, moving guys from one position to another, multiple arms coming out of the bullpen, and the arms that you will expect to see in October. With all due respect to the Max Lazars of the world, right? Like I saw Kerkering, Strahm, Duran, and David Robertson yesterday. Those will be the go-to guys, plus Tanner Banks come playoff time when this team plays. So yesterday felt like an October game. There is a legitimate chance that this is the team that you will be facing in Red October.
It certainly looks like it. As long as they win their wild card series, this looks like the matchup.
And so get ready. This was a nice little appetizer. We expect there to be a bit of a hangover game tonight for the Phillies as they celebrate in the locker room yesterday. So we'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, that was a playoff game last night, and it was a great teaser of what could potentially happen in a couple of weeks.
Got a good thing for you, though, on the whole hangover game tonight. Christopher, not most likely to be the guy to have the hangover.
Okay.
So he's on the mound. And I heard Cole Hamels talk about this on the Sunday broadcast. Cole, liking to imbibe, had to pitch one of the games after a clincher.
That sounds horrible.
And he said it was terrible.
Yes,
he
I
said
bet it was.
He said it was an awful experience for him having to pitch that next day. He felt like crap.
Yes. Hey, we do that in our Sunday league every weekend.
Damn right
it's
we
easy.
do. Damn right we do.
And you and Cole can relate. You same level of competition. But Christopher, I doubt is the guy to come in today and have the horrible hangover.
Right.
So maybe that works in their favor. But what a spectacular moment for the Phils. This franchise, you said 13. And again, for someone of your generation, you guys were raised in what I do consider a real golden era.
Absolutely.
Of that 2007 to 2011, which was a great window of time. We're living in a great window of time right now. But this window needs a little more window dressing than just that 2022 miracle run.
Yeah, this window needs a championship. And
I think so, too.
Say what you want about this baseball team, whether you love the core, whether you don't, this could be very well the last chance for a lot of these players in a Phillies uniform to try to win it. And I do believe that at times this year, maybe that did impact the way we looked at them, and maybe it impacted the clubhouse itself, that there is so much stress on this team as this potentially being the last year.
You think the way we looked at it, explain that a little bit more.
Well, because we all know that this could be it, right? And so we're looking for every single flaw in this baseball team. And look,
so we're being nitpicky, you're saying a little bit, maybe because of the fact of the pressure we're feeling.
Right, because we sense that this could be it, that everybody's getting older. The daycare is dead, right? The daycare is now 28, 29 years old. The guys like Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, they're not 30 anymore. They're 32, 33, 34 years old. Zach Wheeler is no longer pitching for this baseball team, but he was getting up there in age. And you all got that sense, despite how good these guys can still be, you realize that Father Time never loses. And so at some point, you weren't going to bring back players. You were probably going to trade some players away. We all know that the future for Nick Castellanos in Philadelphia is probably over after this October run. So it's going to look different next year. And because we know all this stuff, I think that's why the pressure that we have felt as fans and maybe the pressure that we have pushed toward the Phillies all season long has been there. So my question for everybody today at 610-632-0975, regardless of your opinion about this team. You know what I've said a couple of weeks ago? I thought that the Phillies' World Series chances were done the second Zach Wheeler went down, right? But I also gave that promise the day that you were out, Johnny, that I'm still going to ride with this team and celebrate every high that there is. And last night is one of those highs, winning the National League East crown in mid-September. Some of you might just be celebrating. Like, I got Connor Goggles over there.
I love
Some
that.
of you may
Take
just
a champagne in my eyes.
Some of you may just be celebrating the fact that you've believed in this team throughout the course of the year. So if that's the case, hey, have at it. Let's party. But there's a lot of people that have an opinion about this team and how it's going to end. Can you sit back and forget about that for a day and celebrate the fact that they are back-to-back National League East champions? Answer that question for us today at 610-632-0975. Coming up next, before the bottles were popped inside the clubhouse, Rob Thompson addressed this team. And I think his message was perfect to his players for how this season had been played out. Hear that next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown.
It's a new team, but this team DNA.
When you've seen the first two games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And, again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Amy Fadul with us for the remainder of the show today. I'm going to give you 2 make-believe bets that were sent to me by 2 different people.
Make-believe?
On social media.
I like that.
So I will give those to you, come up in a little bit. But as you heard in the tease there, Rob Thompson addressed his team before the bottles were popped, even though you heard in the background a couple of bottles pop, and there were some people that just couldn't wait a few minutes.
And any theories?
Well, sometimes
Stubbs,
it pops early.
Stubbs.
Yeah.
A couple guys that wanted to pop the bottles. But Rob Thompson, I thought the message was perfect because this team has been a roller coaster year. There's been plenty of adversity. There's been injuries. There's been suspensions. There's been demands from fans about DFAing players, calling up players that were called up, players that weren't called up, like Justin Crawford. And through the year, Rob Thompson has managed this team to a 90-win baseball team that will continue to win baseball games and still has a chance of getting the top seed in the National League. Here was Topper before all the bottles were popped last night.
Toughness, resiliency, how you day after day, inning by inning. I mean, we've had all kinds of adversity this year with travel and rain delays and injuries, and you guys have fought right through it. So this is for all of you, all the staff, the guys that we've left behind, Wheeler, Alvarado, Trey, Romano, they couldn't be here. The guys that have come up from Lehigh Valley and helped us out. This is a great team effort. Great team effort. Back-to-back National League East champions. That's too often, boys. So enjoy it. JT, how many we got left, buddy? Whatever the hell it takes. That's right.
And then the party ensued, and my God, was it a party inside that clubhouse last night.
How was that?
It's awesome.
That sounded
how
like
it should be.
Okay, ask you a question about the party. Okay, let me ask you. So the party's great last night.
Yes.
That's spectacular. When should the next party like that be?
When you advance to the NLCS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
you're
gonna
all
happen.
you're all for party every time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you advance to the NLCS, yeah.
Would you not party after the NLDS?
You reached
No, what
the
I'm saying,
pennant.
what I'm saying.
Think
to
about
you
who
is-
you're going to be playing possibly for the NLDS.
Now, to me, it's always been a thing with me. Is that I don't understand it.
You have always
no
kept
other
that
sport.
energy.
No, I am all for baseball. I understand. Last night, the celebrate. You play 162. These guys do something that none of the other sports do.
Right.
Right.
Microphones in their face every day, time away from their families and everything. You want to cut loose like that? You win the division. I completely get it.
Right.
You finish second, by the way. The wild card teams that do that nonsense, I think is stupid.
Still made the playoffs.
Stupid.
It might depend on who you are. If you're like the Pirates, you
No,
go
but I think
crazy.
it's
But if you're like the Braves, for the
you're
wild
celebrating
card.
like being the 6th seed doing that. I think it's stupid. I think division champions should do that. That's just me. I also think, though, it should be when you win the National League championship. Should be the next time you do that. No other sport does this.
Well, I will tell you this.
No other
in talking
sport does
with,
this at all.
In talking with basketball players and football players, when they see what the Phillies do, and I remember that it's in 2022 when they did it, every single sport was like, why can't we do that? They all wanted to do it.
Right.
They all wanted to do it. They all wanted to be like, when we win our first round series, whatever it is, if it's the Sixers, they wanted to. I was like, that sounds like, yeah, do that. Like, why does
Right.
baseball get all the fun? I'm like, that's just what they've always done. That's just a thing that they do. They do it every round. I'm like, yeah, they do it every round.
Every round.
I remember talking to them. Like, they do it every round.
And the
They do it
party
every
gets
round.
harder and harder as the postseason
I just think the
continues.
way that this season has gone, and you just kind of enumerated it there,
You
Andrew.
really did.
But and who you're going to face in the NLDS. I mean, these are formidable opponents.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous teams.
The National League's tough.
The National League is out of control. When you win the NLDS, absolutely pop that bottle. And then
Yeah.
when you win the NLCS, obviously you go bananas.
Right. Now,
Which could be absolutely.
I will
wild.
say this. So John says, teams that do it in second place. Look,
to me, the wild card teams doing it to me is out of bounds.
I'll say this.
As far as that.
I don't think it's out of bounds depending on the team. But let's say 07, the playoff format was the way it is today, where the extra team makes it.
Right.
If you collapse the way the Mets did in 07,
I would hope you would.
and then made the playoffs,
Maybe like a cheers.
I wouldn't pop bottles for collapsing my division
will.
lead 17
But they will.
7 games in 17 days.
I mean, I forget, it was Colorado one year made the postseason. The first year they added the the extra wild card.
I think you're thinking of Minnesota because the Twins did it as well.
I thought Colorado made it as the third.
Colorado did it. They had that one.
They were third place.
One-game playoff. Is that the year you're thinking about?
Yeah, they were.
Okay,
And they were the third.
Remember that one-game playoff?
And they finished third.
But they walked it off with a slide at home. I remember thinking
that may be
that was
part
awesome.
of it, the way that it ended.
No, but they had the whole locker room all taped off and everything.
The Twins
for that.
did it
wanna make
as
sure.
the final wild card team because then another team lost.
Correct.
So they didn't win their game.
No, that was the thing. It was like on Sunday, it was like, would it have been a more subdued? Probably it still would have been pretty great because you're one, celebrating that you won the division, but two, I would still celebrate just the Mets losing.
I think it would have been wilder at home, though, too, because they knew that flight was coming.
Yeah, but you know what?
They could have slept on that flight.
I think they would have gotten it in and maybe delayed that flight a little bit to visit some peeps over.
And the flight was delayed anyway.
Yeah, it was. Last night, though, was also the way you won. Like, that was a great game.
That was an awesome way to win.
Great opponent, great game.
Two of the last 3 years, the last team in has played for the World Series representing the National League.
Yeah.
You pop bottles if you make it.
All right, real quick, before we get to Anthony Sanfilippo, who joins us next. Dawood checks in.
What's up, Dawood?
You're given $100,000 to bet that Dancing on My Own played in the locker room. Would you have made that bet?
I would say no.
I say no as well. I think it's done.
I
think it's done.
I didn't hear it. I watched a lot of
I
that.
watched the entire thing.
And I think DJ AAA has been supplanted.
They've got new. They got new
songs.
They got new mixes.
And in Zach and Old City, what's the over/under on the number of shirts that come out with the slogan "Whatever the hell it takes"? Topper.
That and
no, what a blessing!
What a blessing!
What a blessing!
What a gift!
What a gift! I'm sorry.
Those shirts are already out. They're already wearing them.
Those are already out. Yeah, exactly.
Great time to be a Philly fan for Philadelphia
That's not
sports
a bad
fan.
one either.
For Kyle Schwarber.
There's a lot of them. All right, coming up next from on Patterson, Anthony Sanfilippo. He'll join us next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
NL East champs. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies are officially National League East champions for the second straight season. They took down the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings out in L.A. earlier this morning to lock up the division crown. Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, Bryce Harper all had big homers in the game. And David Robertson, well, he worked out of a jam in the 10th inning. Here's what it sounded like on NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to first. This should do it. Harper's got it. He'll take it to the bag. And for the second consecutive season, the Philadelphia Phillies are the National League East champions.
The next goal up for the Phillies, well, it's probably trying not to be too hungover for tonight's game against the Dodgers, but after that, it's trying to lock down a first-round bye. They're 5.5 games up on the Dodgers for the 2 seed. Game 2 is at 10 p.m. tonight. Christopher Sanchez faces Shohei Ohtani. Eagles are starting their prep for a matchup with the Rams. Rams at 2-0 coming in here Sunday to the Link. Eagles coordinators meet with media at 11:30 today. We'll be listening closely for Kevin Patullo's explanation of the offensive performance. Amy Fadul remains with the guys for the rest of the show. Anthony Sanfilippo of On Patterson joins us next live from L.A. to talk about those Phils. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouva.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew Makuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Stephen Butler says they can party if they lock up the 1 seed.
Oh, another
No,
one.
they will not have another party if
Can
they
you
lock up
imagine?
the ones.
Let's go.
They will never do that. Now
Hey,
they'll do
best
that.
team in baseball?
They may do that in private. They're not doing
Maybe
that.
it'll
in
be like a
public.
cheers. What was it
No
last
team does
year
that.
they just, when they made the playoffs, they did like a toast?
They had the little toast.
Yes,
They could do
did
something
a
like
little
that.
toast.
That's a nice.
And by the way, Rob Thompson with those toasts.
He's great.
Listen,
He is great.
He's thoughtful, and
he hits the mark. He really does.
he really does.
Hell, party if you win again tonight.
And Rob Thompson and
you
Rob,
beat Otani. Let's go.
and Rob Thompson.
You
with
won the hangover game? Let's go.
He with the genuine,
Stubbs.
his toasts. He should be every single wedding toaster.
Oh,
yeah. He makes it's very personalized. It
short.
comes from the heart, and it's succinct. It's excellent.
I was counseling John Clark as he gets ready to go into the Temple Hall of Fame in a few months.
I was like,
and he's like,
is there
he's like
something
so very speech and everything. And I said, yeah, be the shortest speaker.
John's a
That
good
is what
speaker.
be the shortest.
John's a good speaker.
But be the shortest speaker. That's the way to do it. I said, be the shortest.
Coming from you.
Get in and get done. And
Yeah.
I was the shortest speaker.
Yes,
Be
you
the
were.
shortest-
And it was a great speech.
That's the advice I tell, like when we have like our you guys we all have meetings, right? Corporate meetings or whatever. I'm always like, at the end of this, just tip your head.
Yeah.
Do not ask questions.
And
do
no
not pass go.
And no story time.
No.
I
There
hate
was no
story
hand
time.
raising.
Story
Just
time.
say thanks so much and you exit
And
the
go- and
meeting.
go home.
That is
All right.
advice for everyone.
Joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. He saw the celebration in person in Los Angeles from on Patterson. Our man Ant Sanfilippo joins us bright and early. Good morning, sunshine. How you doing today?
It is bright and early out here in L.A.
Why?
I'll tell you that.
Why are you up, though?
To join Kincade Salciunas.
No.
Yes.
Look, I appreciate
He never
it
went
very
to sleep.
much.
It's a trick question.
But did you, seriously, that's what I wanted to know. I mean, did you not go to sleep?
No, I did sleep. But not much. Maybe 3.5 hours, I'd say.
Well, you sound
Perfect,
spry.
chipper.
You sound spry, and we appreciate you coming on. So before we even talk about the Phillies and the playoffs and the game last night, who partied the hardest last night? That's the one I need to know first.
Well, it has to be Garrett Stubbs.
I mean,
it absolutely has to be. That dude was. So when we got there before the game, I walked past his locker. He wasn't even in his locker, and I saw the 2 beer bongs sitting in his locker, and I was like, "This guy is ready to roll. Like he's on fire, ready to go before this thing even happened." And then as I was walking around that clubhouse, by the way, I don't know if you guys have ever been out to LA. Maybe the smallest clubhouse I've ever been in.
It's a shoebox.
It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. So that made it even crazier because there were so many people in such a confined space. So we all got soaking wet. I think I still got like sticky hair. Like it's so bad. But I knew right away that you find Stubbs and I would find the party for all the videos last night. And man, was he doing those beer? He had everybody do one of those beer bongs. John Middleton did one.
I saw, and I thought that was really cool.
He did it much better than Bryce Harper did.
Well, Bryce Harper did it with apple juice.
Bryce Harper's was terrible.
he doesn't drink.
I understand.
He doesn't know what
It's
a
his
beer bong.
first
That's the
day.
first time he saw a beer bong in his
All right,
life.
let's see how this goes. Kyle Schwarber looked old pro, though.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that
Kyle
much.
Schwarber had done that in Indiana.
That was impressive.
So about the game itself, I don't want to lead negative because it was an incredible game, but obviously Kerkering had another inning where he gives up a run. I asked John and Connor this question earlier before Amy got here. If you were to rank Duran, Robertson, Strahm, Kerkering, and I'll throw Tanner Banks in there, confidence meter, the guy that you're most confident in, I'm not asking for a situation. I'm just saying when they come out of the bullpen, you're going, all right, that's great, or not feeling so good here. What's your ranking right now for the bullpen guys?
Well, even though he gave up a home run last night, I'd still put Duran number one.
Of course.
Only the second home run he's given up all year. Both of them at Dodger Stadium, by the way.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is. I'd probably put Strahm number two, the way he's pitching lately. He's really pitched well. Then I would go Robertson. Then I would go Banks, and then I would go Kerkering.
Wow, Kerkering,
okay, that's interesting.
5.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Kerkering below Banks. I see it, though.
Yeah, I looked at that, and I didn't think his outing was awful last night. Obviously, gives up the home run, but he did strike out the side, and it would have almost had an immaculate inning. So I sit there and go, maybe he's starting to come around. Those were 3 good strikeouts he had. I mean, it was top. He struck out Ohtani. Like there was some good stuff there. But man, you can't give up that home run in that spot.
Right.
I mean, you're coming into that spot to get to protect that lead and give up that homer. That's tough. So I still put him 5th, but I think that there's a possibility that he's coming back around.
Now, when you look at this Phillies team and what they've done, how amazing is how they've turned it on since the Wheeler news, since the loss of Turner? What has it been, that resilience, and what have you seen and felt watching this team up close?
The thing that has been different, especially the second half of the year, or since the trade deadline, really, that was not there last year, maybe not even so much there in 23, is everyone else in the lineup is contributing. I mean, when you look at that game last night, obviously the home runs are whatever he talks about. Weston Wilson, there's a guy in the mix there. He's got 3 home runs in his last 9 games. Like that's a guy who you don't expect. He probably wouldn't have even been in the lineup if Edmundo Sosa was healthy, and he's contributing. But Otto Kemp starts this whole thing with a double last night, right? Bryson Stott, he's been on base 16 straight games. He gets that key single to set up the Wilson homer. Like guys down the lineup are contributing on a regular basis since October 1st. Obviously, we all talk about Bader. We all know what he's meant. He's going to be down the lineup too once Turner comes back. So that's the difference. It's not just a top-heavy lineup where you're sitting there going, oh, the top 3 guys are going to be the guys that carry this team. If they've been consistent long enough now that bottom part of the lineup has really turned it around and become a strength for this team, whereas for the first 9,500 games of this season, it was really probably a weakness that this team had.
Yeah, it was like the way the 6, 7, 8, 9 for a while was almost, I don't want to say automatic outs, Anthony, but it was rough. And you see Bader inserted in there, and then he really kind of leveled everything out, and everybody else we saw Brandon Marsh completely turn his season around, and it's just been it's so much of a resurgence for the bottom of the lineup. But then you go to the top, and you have those guys that have been piecemealing it because, as you mentioned, Trey Turner out there. But seeing last night and the way they were able to fight, I think, is what you need to see throughout, obviously, September, but really going into October, because you're battling a very tough opponent in their place, and they went ahead and then you took the lead, and then they went ahead and then you took the lead, and then you tied it and then took the lead. So I think that was something to me. What does that show you about this team's resilience? Because that's a hard-fought game last night. I mean, they partied because they won the division, but they could have just partied just from winning that game.
Yeah, it was two heavyweights. And, I watch that game, Amy, and I sit there and say to myself, these are the two teams that should be playing in the NLCS. Mm-hmm. It would be unfortunate if these two teams had to play in a shorter series in the DS. These are the two best teams in the National League. But as far as to answer your question, they've been resilient all year. I mean, if you look at, they're the best team in baseball with scoring runs after the seventh inning. They have the best record in I think it's just the National League, but I got to check. It could be all of baseball. Best record against teams with winning records. They show up in the games that matter, and when the times are tight and you expect it to be a tough game, the Phillies are finding ways to win. Part of that is, hey, we have great starting pitching, and it keeps us in the games until the bats figure it out. But part of that is exactly what you talked about, is the team's resiliency and the way that they never feel like they are out of the game, that they can always find a way to scratch out a run or two runs, even if it's in the ninth inning and they're trailing. They feel that they could do that.
And I know you woke up early, so I have a question that I'm going to make you have to think a little bit, and I apologize here.
Well, that could be if you ask him 1 to 3 in the afternoon, that could be a problem.
So Harrison Bader, obviously last night not the best example because it was the first game in a long time where he didn't get a hit. He did walk once. I had this conversation with John and Connor last week. I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. When Trey Turner is back, I think we all assume that he's back in that leadoff spot. Is there a world where Harrison Bader is in the top 3 of the order, and then you have, maybe Bader bats 2, Harper 3, Schwarber 4, or is it back to normal? That's question 1. And then the follow-up is, who is that cleanup hitter come playoff time? We've seen it Real Muto at times this year. We've seen Alec Boehm at times this year. Do you want Bader to be that guy? What do you think this lineup's going to look like now that we've seen Bader play the way that he has when the other guys like Turner and Boehm come back?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one worth thinking about and worth considering. And I think it's something that they'll consider if they start to struggle offensively again. But I think ultimately they want to make the lineup be longer. And so I think Bader's probably batting in that 6th spot when you come back. You're probably going to keep Real Muto at 4, Brandon Marsh 5. He's actually hit pretty well out of that spot, especially against right-hand pitching. And then Bader's going to hit 6. And that will lengthen the lineup and give you something towards the bottom. And then, of course, the way Bryson Stott's sitting at the bottom of the lineup really kind of gives you guys everywhere through that lineup where it's like there's really not a hole. It's not like you're looking at a pocket of 3 or 4 hitters going, there's no hits here. I got to get back to the top because there's no hits here. There's enough now in the lineup with Bader in that 6th spot that really kind of gives you a thought that every couple of guys, there's at least one guy who's going well who's going to at least give you a chance to get on base. Mm-hmm.
Hey, you want a breakfast recommendation? You can get in a cab and go real close? It's probably where
I'm in Pasadena. I'm in Pasadena.
You went to Pasadena? Well, Patty's could get you. You go to Patty's or Marmalade. Patty's or Marmalade Cafe at the Grove.
All right.
Patty's.
I will look. I'll look them up.
Patty's is one you will run into a celebrity at Patty's. I promise you. If you go to Patty's.
Or Ant's going to go back to sleep after this phone call.
Have the hotel coffee.
We can nap later.
There's a nice continental breakfast right downstairs.
Go have a good breakfast.
And listen, man, keep up the great work on Patterson. Keep up the great work covering the team out there in L.A., and we'll talk to you when you get home.
Sounds good. I'll talk
Enjoy yourself, man.
There is Ant Sanfilippo from On Patterson.
Connor, who was the woman from the show you guys watched that my wife watched? I had breakfast next to.
Queen Cersei.
Queen Cersei was having breakfast. Like at Patty's. Patty's. Everybody goes to Patty's. All the celebrity people do. I didn't know her. She's very beautiful.
I don't remember her name, the actress.
Crazy. She had
Lena Headey.
Yeah, Lena
There you
Headey.
go. Lena?
Lena Headey.
And then the guy from
I was
Better
like-
and the guy from Better Call Saul, the other actor from Better Call Saul.
Mike?
Oh, there's like 5 of them.
Mike.
Oh,
From
Mike?
Better Call Saul.
Mike, when Mike,
Dude, Mike was there.
Yes.
Mike was like my favorite character.
dude.
That was like,
They were there. Everybody goes.
for
go
those
to-
who haven't seen
The
it.
show
you
was
go to-
15 years old, so I'll spoil it for you. When he died, I was
was just
upset.
gonna say that. I almost didn't
was
say
so
it.
sad.
I almost didn't
If
say it
you
because I was like a spoiler.
If you go to LA,
but I was like, not Mike.
go to Patty's.
Seriously?
Patys for breakfast.
I just love. He goes, "Shut up and let me die."
Exactly.
Like, that's a
It
great
was such
freaking
Mike. It was
line,
so
man.
Mike.
It was so Mike.
It's
So
no
Mike.
whatever the hell it takes, Stopper.
No, it's better. It's better.
No.
All right, coming up next, we continue celebrating the Phillies NL East championship, but also something I wanted to say for the end because we'll get into it more tomorrow. With all the nonsense in the national media over the tush push, and yes, we will ask Adam Schefter about it tomorrow, one person decided to actually talk about the Eagles and their dominance. You'll hear that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo, and Silvana Cal.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Continue the celebration of the National League East champions, your Philadelphia Phillies. I want to play something for you that you sent me this morning, Johnny, or late last night, and I appreciate you sending this over.
Yeah, I was glad to hear it.
Because it was something different. Like yesterday, unfortunately, a lot of the Eagles talk was the tush push. Now, Dan Orlovsky, I thought, even though it scared the hell out of me, actually gave insight on the Eagles, and he talked about the predictability of the offense, which gives me deja vu and the scaries from what we witnessed in 2023 when at a bar I was predicting plays, and I'm just Joe Schmo on the radio. I'm not a NFL player. Remember Christian McCaffrey was on the Manning cast?
Yes.
And he was literally saying,
picking the plays.
They're about to run this. Like, that's not good. I don't.
It was great for us watching.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I was like, man, maybe not everything.
No, I don't need to know everything that's
coming up.
going on. I want to be wrong. I want to be foolish. So Rich Eisen, who's now a member of ESPN, back to his old stomping grounds, he talked about the Philadelphia Eagles. And we'll talk more about this tomorrow. But just here's your little teaser of tomorrow's show, plus our interview with Adam Schefter that we can't wait to have tomorrow at 7:55 following the tush push discussion on the ESPN network. Here is Rich Eisen talking about the dominance of the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Eagles have this air of they certainly have an air of invincibility when it's the tush push lineup, and it just permeates out from that. Oh, A.J. Brown can hardly do a thing. Devontae Smith is hurt. Guess what? He's going to get off the mat and he's going to break your back. He lands on his back and then breaks the other team's back. Saquon Barkley, hold him for less than 100. He'll still score a touchdown, and so will Jalen Hurts. Defensively, they're going to make a play with some guy you've never heard of. And that'll piss you off because they have enough people you've heard of. Jalen Carter kept the spit in his mouth, and he's unstoppable. And that's the way it feels with the Eagles right now. That's the way it feels. And right now, the only team I've seen out there through the first 2 weeks that can play mistake-free football, put the pressure on Hurts, and really make a very difficult day for him occur. And the rest of this, and not make the mistakes, right now, to me, looks like the Green Bay Packers through 2 weeks. I understand we're an eighth of the season in. I get it. That's what Overreaction Monday's all about. But it's kind of role reversal. You see the Chiefs, the team that if you make a mistake against them, they will crush you with it, and they don't make the mistakes. Now, that's the Eagles. Now, the Eagles come in with an unstoppable force and an air of invincibility about them. They're the ones who come into your town to make your life miserable. And they're the ones you're going to have to beat in Philadelphia, and they're the ones who have gotten 2 breaks with 2 drop footballs already this season.
Despite the way the offense looked, and it being no excuses week for Kevin Patullo, which I am standing by your side with that, John.
I don't know if Amy is, though.
We'll
get her
we'll
thought
ask
on
her. Hearing that should put a smile on everybody's face because it has not been pretty. They're 2-0.
Yeah.
They're
That's
finding
pretty.
ways to win, and they're coming off of winning the Super Bowl. So not like 2023 where it was coming off of a loss and the stories came out that people walked around every day. It was, we have to get back to the Super Bowl. And that pressure that they put on themselves, Jalen Hurts acting like his dog died every single day because they lost the Super Bowl.
Or players not believing in the 10-1 record. They didn't believe they were that good.
Most miserable 10-1 locker room, as Jeff McClain said to us. But they won the Super Bowl. They have that belief now inside them. There isn't this is our only chance to get back, much like the Phillies are kind of dealing with, even though they...
Like our window isn't closing.
Yeah, the Eagles don't have that window. The window's wide open.
Yeah.
I loved hearing that.
It was such a, as you mentioned, after it's not doom and gloom, but there was definitely like a lot of trepidation after you watched that game. It was a hard-fought, hard-earned game. You knew it was going to be a tough place to play. Steve Spagnuolo, we heard it all. But you didn't feel great, right? 101 yards of offense is not going to sustain you through 17 games.
No.
It's not going to win you a lot of games.
But we won the bleeping games of shut your ass
But
up.
that's the thing. Thank you,
great.
Jalen Hurts. So it was nice to hear something refreshing after, we were kind of not down in the dumps, but you earned that win. You were just like, I need a little something like a pick-me-up, like a little sweet treat. Thank you for the sweet treat. I needed a little pick-me-up. And then there was all the nonsense about the tush-push, Dean Blandino coming out. Well, the refs don't know how to referee or to call it. Okay, that's your job. So figure that out. But so it was just all this, let's just rain down on everybody's parade. And so it was nice to hear, actually just a little positivity. They are, and I think Ray said it yesterday from 10 to 2, they're kind of like the boogeyman because people see them, the Eagles coming in, they're going to find some way to win.
Yeah.
They're not going to look good doing it.
Right.
They're just going to find a way to win. It's like the Chiefs last year. It's doesn't matter.
They're
You could
going
be
to
up
one-score games.
I mean, the Chiefs would be down 20 points, you'd be like, they're probably going to win this game. So that's how the Eagles are. How much did you feel like that last year when you watched the Chiefs? We're probably
all the
going to win.
time. And one-score games, they looked ugly for 3 quarters, and
all
then
of
they
a
won.
sudden, and now it's the Eagles. It's like, I don't look great.
They find ways to win.
Wait, they're that team now. I love it.
I brought up earlier today that go back and watch. I don't know how much you saw of Cam Ward's game on Sunday
Smidge.
against the Rams.
Yes.
So he went up against the Rams defense the Eagles are going to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he had almost twice as successful a day passing the football as Jalen Hurts did against the Chiefs. So I said, this is there's no reason for the Eagles to be 30th in like passing efficiency and things like that. It's got to be this Sunday. When Cam Ward in his second NFL start can go out against the Rams and put together 5 drives of 10 plays or more and pass the football for almost double the yardage that Jalen did against the Chiefs and be able to do it as a rookie going out there.
And that's how that game was called, right?
Right.
Let's
did.
really open this up. And I think that's what Kevin Petullo is going to have to do. But you'll have to remember last year against the Rams, Saquon
They ran it
Barkley,
down their throats.
He ripped off like 20
Right.
and 30-plus yard single like rips of runs. And he looked like he was getting ready to break a few of those on Sunday, and he just couldn't get to that next level, just that one extra. So you're hoping that maybe they can get a little combination. But, yeah, I think the game plan, obviously for Cam Ward, it was like, let's just air it out. We're going for broke. We got nothing to lose in this game.
The kid did a nice job for his second start in the NFL.
I'm not the biggest Cam Ward fan, but he looked good.
Right.
So is it no excuse week for you?
I don't know if I'm.
Petullo?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I'm one more week because it's just so vanilla. The offense is so vanilla, and I was on the post game show with all these guys.
Nice job, by the way.
Thank you so much. But Jaws and Jason Avant, and Jason Avant is just like, I need to see more. And Ron Jaworski's like, we don't know what they were calling, which are both factually true.
Mm-hmm.
You need to see more, and you don't know what originally was called. You know what we saw on it was another slant play. Like, here we go, AJ Brown in the slant. But I want to see a little bit more variety. So I did tend to lean a little bit more with what Jason Avant was saying. Like, you've got guys that can freelance out there. A.J. Brown can go high point a ball with the best of them, right? Yeah. He's a 50-50 guy, and for him, it's 75-25. So let's throw it up a little bit and get a little bit more variety. I'm not saying you got to go crazy out there and start like whipping it air raid style, but maybe a little bit more variety than I think it was like almost 30% of A.J. Brown was just slant route.
Is there any belief if you had that? Now, look, these guys have been doing it a long time. But if you gave Sean McVay, or you gave, you gave Green Bay all the weapons that the Eagles have. When you take over a business that's highly successful, and you come into something, and all the staff is there, and all the thing is, then you come in as the new boss. Yeah. No one says, "Oh, well, the business is allowed to slide for a while."
Yeah, no, it's we got to keep this.
So
thing
I don't want to hear this Kevin Petullo stuff. Well, we got to give them time.
Yeah.
BS. You should be able to come in and at least sustain a modicum of that. This is. But if they were middle of the pack, I would have no problem.
But look at the offense last year, through the air.
2 weeks, it wasn't bad though.
Right, but you're looking at like the first 2 weeks, even out of like the Browns and the Jaguars. It wasn't this. They really oversimplified it last year. Jalen Hurts is very risk averse, and I appreciate that because he's had some issues with that a couple of years ago. So I think you do have to your point, I think you do have to massage that a little bit. Like, I get that you want to like keep it like simple, but maybe not too simple so it's so vanilla.
All right, real quick, I have a question. Go ahead. Tell us about life-saving cancer research.
Pierce Phelps Bryan Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Thank you for making a donation to the AACR, the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saved my life. It can save yours too.
Damn right it can. My question for you all: who's in the lineup tonight?
Oh, wow.
Rafael Marchand.
I don't think
no.
I don't think they're giving up. I do not.
Stubbs.
I do not think they're. I don't think they're giving up on this game.
They're still going. They're still going. Like the 1 seed is up for grabs.
This
right?
is if they're serious and they say,
they're
pushing for the 1 seed. Yes,
they're pushing for
They're 1.5 out.
I thought it was 2. Sorry,
they're 1.5 out.
Well, 2.5 because they have the head-to-head, the Brewers.
Yeah, because technically it was 3. Okay, there you go.
Right. So I would say if what they say is
all right,
true,
so then maybe it is Marchand.
Yeah, Marchand plays.
So in 2022, real quick.
Let's be honest. Half the team is kind of Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, which Rob Thompson pointed out.
That's true.
I mean, I know Kemp Weston Wilson. Those guys have spent more.
So 2022, when the Phillies clinched the division in Houston.
Oh, that was a.
Your lineup that day was Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, Real Muto, Bohm, Castellanos, Marsh, Segura, Stott. The next day, after the party, Harper batted leadoff. Mormon, he's not drinking. Bohm, he was young. He bounced back.
Whatever, you're fine.
Derek Hall was in the lineup. Brandon Marsh batted.
Hall.
What happened to Derek Hall?
Derek Hall.
He got cut again this year by another team. Brandon Marsh batted cleanup. Stott batted fifth. Then it was Nick Maton, Matt Vierling, Dalton Guthrie, and Garrett Stubbs.
Dalton Guthrie.
So is it that drastic today?
I don't think it's that drastic.
I don't think so
because they're fighting for the 1 seed.
Also, but how drastic can they get right now?
That's they can with all the injuries.
Yeah, the backups are the starters right now.
Otto Kemp plays. Weston Wilson plays. These guys play.
And that team backed in.
They're like part of the actual
to the
core.
last seed.
Yeah.
This team has a chance to get the 1 seed.
Right.
Yeah.
If they take this not seriously tonight,
Well, they're taking it seriously.
They no, but if they
But I
throw
do
out,
think that Marshawn just gets run anyway.
Right, Marshawn should play tonight. That's good.
Kepler's German. He can drink. He'll be out there.
That's true. That's a good. That's a good point.
I mean, these guys have done this a time or two. They're veterans.
No, but that's the problem.
Their livers are ready.
No, the problem is they're veterans. That means the hangover does not go away as quick.
Yeah, but
That's
it's a
true.
late game.
Trust me.
Donovan Walton,
Donovan.
My tailgate to
Donnie
wedding
Walton.
Saturday was a little rough Sunday morning. All right, Amy, thank you as always.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Amy. Good to see you.
I'm on tomorrow.
You're on
10
tomorrow.
To 2.
10 to 2.
Can't wait. We'll be listening. Ray Dunn coming your way next. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Don't forget, Adam Schefter joins us at 7:55 tomorrow. And for all of you wondering, you guys aren't going to ask him about it, we will. Talk to you tomorrow here on The Fanatic.